So what I would actually recommend is if you have older underwear, wear those, and then when you're done, just dump
That's
it.
a great idea.
And then
It's almost like spring cleaning.
Yeah. And then you loosen, you lighten the load. You have to
Very
take
good
that
tip.
too. Yeah.
You're actually letting it go at the perfect place. Yeah. Live the rest of your life at
Instead of leaving your tent, you just have a bag of underwear off to the side.
Or even better. Now we're going to the pit. I'm like, okay, we're not finding him. I'm like, let's get out of the crowd real quick. So we went in from the back. Now we went to the left. So now we're on the side of the stage. I look at her dead in the eyes. I'm not even kidding you. I held her shoulders and I looked at her dead in the eyes and I said, promise me you're not fucked up. I said, I will help you, but promise me you are not fucked up right now.
Yeah, you're not screwing me over.
She's like, I promise you I'm not fucked up. I got hit in the head in the pit and I can't find my boyfriend. I said, fine, I will help you. The next thing this person says is, I know the DJ. I'll get him to say it on the mic.
Hi, and welcome back to Back and Body Hurts Rave Podcast, where we talk about all things EDM related. And this episode, we are talking about all things camping related festivals. So we want to talk about a little bit what's legit camping and what we mean by it, and what's like glamping, and what about like setting up tents and nice to have and pointers, advices. So joining me on the opposite end of the table is actually Sonny.
Hey, everyone.
And to my right side here is Benny.
Hey.
And we are introducing a special guest today who has been raving for quite some time in camping festivals, Ian. Ian, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your raving history?
Yeah, so I've been raving since I was 16. My first ever rave was technically Ever After, which unfortunately is no longer around anymore. But that was my first ever rave festival. I kind of started getting into EDM. I was making Counter-Strike videos and I would edit them with trap music, and that was like the genre that really brought me in. I had some people who I worked with who also raved, but they were much older, and they were the ones who kind of got me to actually go to Ever After, which was my first ever rave. And I remember it so vividly. The first day, it was a Friday, Skrillex was headlining on the main stage, and I was like, you can tell.
It probably blew your pants off.
I was like baby raver.
Yeah.
I was at the rail,
Yeah.
which nowadays I am far away from the rail.
Yeah.
But I was at the rail the entire day, and a guy behind me came up, tapped my shoulder, he said, $50 cash to trade spots with you, because he wanted the rail, and I was like, hell no. I was like, this is my spot, and I loved it. And I also this is my first time ever going to a rave.
Exactly.
Didn't know about water. I had no water for the entire day. I was so dehydrated, but I was like, I loved it, right? And so since then, I've been to many festivals. I've been to many raves.
What year was this? Ever After?
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
It was like the second year they started.
16 years old, 2016.
Wow.
Pretty easy to remember my age that way. But yeah, and then so from trap music, I started listening to deep house, which I am going to kind of expose myself. But I thought deep house was dubstep when I was like baby raver, because I didn't really know the difference.
Yeah.
Then I got into dubstep, like actual dubstep. And then after dubstep, I've kind of like, explored a lot of genres now. I feel like now I'm actually growing up in the rave scene. Now I'm doing BnB.
Took you to your first hard techno rave.
Yeah.
Hey.
So BnB, I still love dubstep, not so much, but I still love my trap. I still love deep house, but a lot of more house nowadays. DnB, and UK bassline is another one I really like.
Did you ever get into
garage.
trance?
I have gone to many trance shows. I wouldn't say it's absolute. I like to play video games to it. It's a great genre to play video games to.
I like to snowboard on trance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I like trance music, but it's not like top 10. But if I was to say my number one genre right now is rhythm dubstep, which is basically like,
It's like the bass sound with like melodic.
no, it's like weird dubstep.
Yeah,
it's very
weird.
niche.
Yeah.
It's very niche.
It's
like,
weird dubstep.
The dance moves are different than dubstep. There's not as much headbanging.
Yeah.
There's a lot more pits. I look at it as like a grimier dubstep. It's definitely a whole different genre, and it's a small crowd. But I love the crowd. That's the thing I love about that genre, is you will see the best crowds. I went to a festival that's in Montreal, like back in February, for my second year now. It's called Northern Invasion. It's an all rhythm festival. They call it the Rhythm Olympics because of how
It's literally all like rhythm.
no.
All
and it
people
was
around North
crazy.
America.
I have
Yeah.
never been to a rave where I could sit there and genuinely every single person in the crowd on the balconies were going absolutely nuts. Like such a cool thing to see.
It's one of those niche things. It's like what we talk about with certain genres. So like
the more deeper the genre you go in, the more
you get the
specific,
hardcore fans, and then like everyone there is literally there to listen to rhythm. Like unless you're like a Montreal local, is like, oh, let me check this out. But like most people were traveling from the States or even from Toronto,
Texas. People coming from Texas for this Montreal small. It's in a club too. Like February, it's cold. Small club, probably the size is like Coda. And there's like people coming from across the country for this one show. I guess North America continent. But honestly, love that event. Super fun. Definitely going to go back almost every year if I can. But other festivals I've been to, I've done Veld many times. I've actually done Electric Forest last year. 2 years ago, I did Lost Lands. I have the exact same sweater just out there. But I did Lost Lands. I've also done one in Wasaga Beach that I can't remember the name of.
I think it's Electric Elements.
That is the one. I'm pretty sure that is the one. It's actually funny. I went for one day, and then I was like, the beach was so cold because they did in May, but it was still so cold because you're right at the beach. I just didn't go the second day. And then I've also got EDC, my very first EDC. I'm going to next Wednesday. I'm flying out. I'm also going with Sonny for this.
Yeah.
Are you doing RV or Easy Tent? Or are you doing hotels?
Yeah. I literally bought my ticket.
He's literally YOLOing like in the past month.
I think that's kind of what like I did last year too. I know I wanted to go, but then I bought my ticket like 2-3 weeks before.
So I've never done out of country festivals until 2 years ago when it was Lost Lands, last year Electric Forest, and now this year will be EDC.
You did Grid Life too.
Yeah. Oh, I did actually do Grid Life. Grid Life is like a drift event during the day and then a rave at night. They had like Joyride headlining and Cascade, two different nights. Super cool, honestly. For what it was, fantastic festival. But definitely a weird crowd because there's a lot of non-ravers.
It's a unique experience because you get a lot of the car people there.
It's like a car show.
It's a car show.
Like people aren't going there with just like Honda Civics that are just like standard cars. Like they're modded up. You got like actual drift cars. Then also during the day, you can actually walk through and you can actually like go with the cars on the track, and it's like professional drifters too. Like you're having famous YouTubers like Adam LZ who's drifting the track, and like competitions going on. So it's not just like some random guy who's going to spin out the entire day on the track.
So essentially, instead of pool parties, it's drift events.
Exactly.
Essentially, that's what it is. So it's essentially like a rave.
Yeah, but it's actually funny too because I've actually saw a lot of people in the crowd who didn't even go to the drift event. They only went for the rave.
Yeah. But the lineup's sick. So
and the tickets were cheap. I paid like $70 for
the whole festival.
Yeah. Well, camping was extra, but $70 for like the actual entry ticket. So if somebody who lives in Michigan who's just going for the music, $70.
Yeah, it's cheap.
But this is also now going on year 3. The first year they did rap, then the second year they did EDM, and now the next year they did EDM. They had Subtronics headlining, and now this year I don't even know what the lineup is, but this is now year 4, I think, and I think they're sticking with EDM because they definitely saw profits with it.
That's good.
But yeah, and then there's also like a lot of other camping festivals that I want to go to. Summoning's one, Base Canyon. I know there's a bunch of other ones. I don't know if you guys want to mention them.
There's Shambhala. The one in Canada. We have Bonnaroo as well.
These are all camping festivals.
Coachella, Wakan, the Gorge Amphitheater. So that's in Washington State. That you've probably seen Above and Beyond Group Therapy there. Beyond Wonderland is there. We also have some ones in North. We're going to talk about Europe ones? Like European ones?
We're going to talk a little bit about Europe.
We're mostly focusing on North America because one of the aspects of Europe is
you have to fly there.
You have to fly there, and you may, unless you want to spend all the money to buy the camping equipment, you
either glamp it up or you have a friend there that has all the gear.
We'll touch upon that a little bit, but just some of the notable ones: Tomorrowland, Awakenings, Boomtown.
Just so all the listeners know, Tomorrowland, we're gonna have a dedicated episode. Benny and I are going, and we are doing Easy Tent. So this episode itself, I'm learning about camping and learning about what needs to be brought, and hopefully experience the best.
Have you done a camping festival?
So yeah, I did Awakenings, which is I did the pre-set up the tents because I'm obviously I live in Canada, so I'm not bringing anything there. I just go and everything's set up. It's in the Netherlands, south of Amsterdam.
Yeah, like I've done it too. Both me and Benny on separate years did Awakenings, and this is where we put the asterisk on European. Is that like a lot of times for us in North America, we're not going to have the camping equipment there, so it's just easier to choose one of those options, which some North American festivals do have. But I think the basis of this festival camping one is like most of us will be able to drive. You'll be able to drive to Lost Lands, Electric Forest.
Which
So-
we've done.
From Toronto.
From Toronto. So it's good.
How long is the drive to Lost Lands?
It's about like
8 hours.
Eight.
I would say
8 to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours with stops.
Yeah.
Like it was funny. We actually got the Tuesday early entry, but we showed up at 12 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. So we just wasted like 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Because technically you could have just sat outside the gate for it to reach over to 12 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday and you just gone in. But we were planning for like a 6 or 8 hour drive. It turned out to be like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
The 12 hours is
With
actually
pit
not that
stops,
bad with stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we set up at night, but we'll get into those details.
What about Electric Forest?
6.
About 6, 7.
Same
8.
with Grid Life.
Yeah.
It's in Michigan as well.
It's on the west side of Michigan, so yeah, like you have to.
So
It's a boring drive.
Yeah. I mean, well, it is a driving. It's a road trip, right? So the fun is always in the car. So we know you, Benny and I know you through Sonny. How did you actually know Sonny?
Well, we first met at a club in Hamilton.
You want me to tell this one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, when I say I have a raving, I've been raving for a while. People know. When I say I have a raving son, Ian is my raving son. So he is my inaugural rave son. The story of how we met was actually he watched my drink.
Yes.
At a club.
Yeah. While I used the washroom.
I didn't know him at all.
I wasn't just watching it while he was there.
I didn't know him at all. I just like, okay, yeah, he seems trustworthy. He's like, I had to go to the bathroom. He's like, I'll put it here. He's like, I'll watch your drink. I'm like, okay. And then
actually perfect timing too, because I just got out of a relationship with a girl who was a raver that had a whole friend group, which I was a part of. This is my first rave going back after the breakup, and then I was going by myself because I didn't really know anyone at that point. And literally the same night I met Sonny.
Yeah. So I came with 2 other friends who are now Ian's friends too from Hamilton. So I went with them. Went there. He watched my drink. He hung out us the rest of the night. Got his contact info, and then we were like chatting, just like talking about like what's upcoming. And then he invited me to his birthday party. Like I barely knew Ian, but. I was just like, you know what? If someone reached out to me and invited me to their birthday party, let me just. I just showed up. Like he was like only 15, 20 minutes away from me, so I'm like, I just showed up. Showed face. I didn't know anyone there. Yeah. I actually didn't know anyone there other than Ian. But then me and Ian just started talking, and then from there we had some crazy plan.
Very crazy.
Where we ended up doing.
I forgot about this.
This is the plan where we made that plan where we did.
3 days?
We did that London block party.
Yeah.
We did an event the night before, and then after London block party, we went to Hamilton again to go see.
We went to Toronto, did Woolly.
Yeah, Woolly. That's what it was.
We came back, slept, woke up the next day, drove to London, did a festival. Then that night, drove back down to Hamilton, saw Rusco, and then went home. And we got home at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
This is London, Ontario.
Yeah.
London, Ontario.
Yeah.
So then from there, we've just been going to a lot of shows and festivals. Now, the reason why we want to bring Ian on is I'm personally not a camper. Mm-hmm. I have just my basic camping things. I will not go to a camping festival unless it's without him. I will not go.
I feel a little honored.
Yeah.
And honestly, I am also not going to take credit because it's all my mother.
Mm-hmm.
As I grew up, we've done many camping events, not obviously EDM related, but just like going to a campground. And she has everything.
Yeah.
So...
And this is where I talk. I've done EDC camping for those who have listened to other episodes, which isn't legit camping. So I don't know if you want to.
What is legit camping?
So legit camping is what we call when you're driving your car and you actually pay for like a spot to park. So
they gave you a lot.
Yeah, all you're given is a spot, and you have your spot based on where your car's parked, and then you have to bring everything to set it up.
It's normally like maybe 10 feet by like 2 car lengths, I guess is the best way to put it. Enough that you could fit like a tent, your car, and then have a little bit of space in between. And also, we say legit camping, but some people may look at legit camping as like literally hitching a tent in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. This is festival legit camping.
Yeah.
So I mean, they give you a lot, but like it's the same principle that you go to like a spot in the forest and then just do it.
Oh, it's not even in a forest.
No,
most time it's just in a field.
It's in a field.
It's
I know.
not.
I'm talking about like between like leisure camping and like festival camping. Yeah, it's like similar spot. in a way. Like they just give you a box for you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have your car in front. So
so like that's one of like the legit camping, and there's also a different tiers. So that is like the ultimate camping experience. The legit camping, you given a box and then you like a square spot and you bring your own stuff. And then the tier up of that is the easy tent, the one that Tomorrowland offers. Is they provide you a tent, and that's pretty much it.
Fend for yourself.
Yeah, then
a tent and a sleeping bag.
Yeah, a tent and a sleeping bag, and that's pretty much it.
Do you get to keep it?
The sleeping bag, I mean, you can try to take it, but
I mean, like, I guess, like, are you technically buying the tent and the sleeping bag, or are you just renting it?
Awakenings, you actually get to keep your tent.
You get to keep it.
You get to keep
I
your
didn't keep
tent.
mine because I couldn't fit it.
Yeah, you can't fit it. You get to keep the tent, and I don't know if it came with a sleeping bag.
Well, you also have to remember, some people might be doing that even though they live locally because they just
Yeah,
don't want to go and buy a tent,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
It's like you're buying a tent probably at a premium, but at least you get to bring it home with you after, right?
Yeah, and then like so for the easy tier, like there's different tiers to it. Like they will give you either the add-ons of the mattress, the linen, the power socket, and things like that. And then you have one up on that is the RV tenting. So
Rich
the
people.
RV, that's rich people. EDC offers that notably. People
Most
also
of these festivals, like
most
of these festivals, offer it too. It's just you have to either come with one or rent one.
I was gonna say, does any festival ever actually like rent out the RV as well?
No. They like.
I mean, that could be a good
bring your
setup.
own.
You have to bring your own
RV.
I mean, if they're charging like $6,000 for like some fancy package, they might as well let you rent out an RV for like 10 grand.
No, I think it's
Someone
more
will buy it.
reliability, right?
I guess that's true.
Then they become the middleman. Why not put
Exactly.
the onus on you?
That's true.
They just offer
Plus,
you
they
the
also
shot.
they also want you to like be able to choose your own RV, right? Because it depends on how many ravers you have in your thing.
That is a good point too, actually.
It is probably something they've thought about, but I just don't think it
doesn't make
makes
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make
I don't-
money in the
doesn't
end.
make sense. And then the tier above that, which is glamping. So essentially, you buy a house.
Yeah,
in a
or you
sense.
buy like a
Like
very fancy tent
tents,
with everything set up.
Yeah, you have like a gazebo. They have like
Cabins.
nice lawn chairs, cabins.
I would
like
love
a firewood.
to do it. I would love to do it, but
Yeah.
every time I look at it, I'm just like,
It's
the amount of money
pricey.
It's also so
so
pricey.
expensive, and I just sit there like, I'm not worth that.
Yeah.
That's too much.
No, like when it's like you think of a budgeting a festival, we all talk about raves being expensive. Well, there goes your budget out the window.
Yeah,
right? If you try
yeah.
to do glamping, right?
Yeah. But then the thing is that like you're gonna have struggle sleeping in camping festival, and like glamping just makes it a little bit easier. But like, do you really
For Tomorrowland, they have some of these the glamping ones. There's a shower in the lounge.
Yeah, as I said, like it's more bougie. Like when we say legit camping, like just to name some of the festivals, like Lost Land, legit camping, Electric Forest, legit camping, Bonnaroo, Shambhala, Grid Life. In European as well, Europe, like Tomorrowland isn't really legit. Tomorrowland and EDC, because they have pre-set up tents. Yeah, they offer RV, but we don't call that legit camping. Awakenings, they technically don't offer legit camping because I think everything has to go into. They do have the areas where you can bring your own stuff, but you don't have the car spot where you do that. Creamfields and Boomtowns though, they do. Like
Creamfields and Boomtown are in UK.
Are in UK.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we actually mentioned it, but the difference between like tent and car camping, some you can actually drive your car right into your campsite.
Yeah.
Others you park your car in a parking lot and carry your tent stuff over.
Yeah.
I think that's EDC, right? You have to park your car somewhere and then you bring.
But you don't bring your tent. They have it pre-set up.
pre-set up, yeah.
But like Lost
They
Lands
don't-
has that too, and Electric Forest where they have areas where it's pre-set up tent. Because honestly, sometimes when you do car camping, it's just it can get very loud. Let's just say with everyone around you.
Also,
right?
I'm just gonna say it. Electric Forest also has cult camping. I'm gonna call it. They have this thing where if you go to the festival a certain amount of times, you get an exclusive campsite, and you actually build like these special like points that you can use. Not use, but it's almost like you get ranks, and it's like you get perks for going,
Interesting.
which makes sense. But
right.
there's some people that we know who have been there like every year, and they're like, we can't not go because we need to keep our
your points,
That's
your
how you-
streak.
that's how they get
Oh,
you.
that's how they get you.
Yeah.
right.
So a lot of things that there are some nice stuff that you can bring, and also some of the stuff that are generally offered in camping facilities. They have usually the mesa, like ice vendors, the showers. Typically, like a lot of questions people ask is like, is there a shower? Is there a line? Where can I get this? But do read through the festival that you're going to. They have like a set of rules, things that they offer. Some festivals they actually give you a checklist to bring.
Yeah,
right?
that's good. Pretty much every North American camping festival I've seen, they give you a checklist on what to pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not as detailed.
It's not as detailed.
Oh no, it's fairly detailed.
I feel like
it's
every
not
time
the
I've seen it, it's like
nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, it's like
not,
the basics.
It's like to survive. Please have this.
Yeah.
Please, to survive, please bring
we're
this.
getting into surviving in luxury in today's podcast.
Yeah.
So, like for the stuff that you don't bring through the checklist, do you think they can purchase that through the Mesa or the vendors?
You can. You can.
Not
You can.
everything.
Not every. So lately, some festivals are getting better, but just be prepared to pay a premium.
Oh no! Like you're gonna be spending like four times.
You're gonna
the
be
price.
spending like what's one thing that some places offer shuttles back to like the strip or back to like a town. Use those shuttles to buy something there.
Or there's Lost Lands where you could literally just walk to a gas station down the road.
Yeah, that too.
Which just is always filled with people, but they have everything you need. Coffee. They have a coffee machine, so people will just go there and get coffee.
Ice was the big one.
Ice. Oh yeah, it was a longer walk than going to like the close like place like the what do you call it? The villa to buy ice, but it's like literally half the price.
It's so at Awakening it's called the grocery store.
But that was on site.
Yeah, yeah.
That was on site though.
Yeah.
But I do like about the Awakenings that they actually have a grocery store there.
Oh really?
That's like actually like a legit like pop up. That's like fancy.
I actually didn't go into it because it was so far from where my camping site.
Oh, because you did the relax resort. Yeah. So that's really far.
And it was so far. Plus the line was always so long.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, fuck that. It's not even worth it.
I mean, like with Lost Lands, the place that was in the villa, which was like maybe a 2-minute walk, 3-minute walk, the ice was $10 a bag.
$10 a bag.
Yeah, you walk an extra, I don't know, 15 minutes, and it's $5 a bag. So we would have like some people would take trips where they're like their arms are dying carrying back and they're big bags. Like we're getting the large bags. So the small bag was $5, the large bag was $10 the other place. So you're carrying back 2 massive bags of ice. Your arms are on fire for like 20 minutes as you're walking to there. But every day you'd have to do it because your ice would melt by the next day. So,
note in the story, nice to have a trolley.
I was literally about to say that. And some people did bring like little
Yeah, we actually did that
wagons.
on the last time we went last time. We had a trolley and it just saved our lives.
Yeah. So good. Even though technically, when we went to Electric Forest, but the actual place was across. No, there was another ice vendor that was cheaper in the festival. That's the other thing. We found a vendor that was cheaper than the place that was also in the festival. It's like the prices were different within the festival.
Was it Electric Forest or last time?
Electric Forest.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, I know
You were
where.
the one who found it,
I
I'm
found
pretty
it. I
sure.
found
He came
it.
back and like, I found cheaper ice. We're all like, nice.
Yeah, so ice is actually a big commodity.
Oh yeah.
But like if you want like individual ice for yourself, I mean they're gonna tell you a little bit of story of how to cool down your body and how to warm up. But if you want like individual ice for yourself, you can always go through the Benny's route where you pay extra tip to the vendors to give you like packs of ice.
So if you're going to buy water, just go like, oh yo, can you send me some ice? I know you got some ice back there. And then they usually give it to you, but if they don't give it to you, you go to the next guy.
Oh yeah.
You go to the next
Find the
guy.
one that's nice to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like a key point.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, like for me, doing a leisure camping in the woods, like I barely get any sleep. So, like, do you guys actually get sleeps from camping?
So this is where like everyone has good festival stories. Man, you get some good festival camping stories.
Camping is where everything happens.
Yeah. Like me and Ian will just go through a couple of our stories, and some of them are just like lifetime memories, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But essentially, no. Like when I did EDC camping.
Mm-hmm.
You did not sleep. I don't know how, because they have the Air Force Base too. We talked about in our EDC episode. They do flyovers in the morning.
Can I also ask, like,
they do flyovers in the morning?
Do flyovers in the
you're
morning.
not sleeping, bro.
Isn't it also like daytime? When you're going to bed?
When you go to bed, it's like 7, 8 a.m.
So the sun's up.
And the problem is the sun isn't fully up, but by 9 o'clock you're roasting in your tent. So you're literally only getting like 2 hours of sleep at that point. So like.
But that's only on EDC because EDC is an overnight festival.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And EDC is like just expect like for a lot of camping festivals. I will say depends on what you bring, which we'll talk about. But you're gonna have a hard time sleeping depending on external factors that may happen. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I've done camping twice at EDC. and I can probably count less than like, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 hours total over the weekend of sleeping. Like, I don't know. It was
Didn't you also say that like you woke up, you didn't want to sleep in a tent, so you actually went to a shaded area and just lie down?
So on the last EDC, like you couldn't, like, I knock out maybe for like 1-2 hours, but on the last EDC I like could not sleep. And then I ended up like, I'm like, am I gonna make day 3? And I literally went to the mesa and laid there on the ground for like 5 hours. Just laid there until I felt better. Like, I just closed my eyes, kind of laid there. I didn't really fall asleep. I just kind of was like in that rested state for like a couple hours, and then I was good to go for the final day.
I see. I'm also a little nervous about going to EDC. I've never been to Vegas. The furthest south I've been is Florida, which is very south, but that's when I was like a kid. So I'm also not too prepared for like that really hot American weather.
It's the one thing is it's dry heat,
and that's I've never been to a desert.
It's not the Florida heat where you have moisture. So like the dry heat will dry out your skin. So you have to make sure you're moisturizing a lot more.
Exactly. You drink a lot more water.
I already have trouble moisturizing in Canadian weather.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm screwed.
But you're living in a hotel. I think you're fine.
That's true.
Because, like,
well, I mean, I guess it's all during the night.
Yeah, it's all during night. Because last year I went to EDC, like the hotels in the strip, because it's also part of like a gambling thing, right? You can go 24 hours nonstop. So in the hotels there are proper blackout curtains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The
As
full
I said,
blackout
for me
curtains.
personally, this EDC is like bougie as fuck. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm actually
I'm
gonna
so
come back
excited
to a
to
bed.
bed.
I'm actually gonna be able to sleep. I'm like, man, this is easy. I've literally survived EDC on like nothing.
I'm so excited.
So they have proper blackout curtains, and if you can't sleep, you can always walk around the casino and watch people lose all their money.
That's the thing. I feel like Vegas is another world.
Yeah,
it is another world.
Is that what you did? You walked around and watched people lose money?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be the one losing the money.
it is another world.
Yeah.
But just moving on, like I have Awakenings, which me and Benny have done. Honestly, for a European festival, pretty good for camping.
Yeah.
But I had on the first year they moved to that new location, which is now at the Hilvenbrick, like where the campsite is.
Yeah, near the.
They didn't have proper signage at all on where to check in. I probably spent, and I'm still friends with these guys. We spent probably 2 hours walking around with our suitcase trying to find the entrance
To the festival? Or
to the
campsite.
To the campsite.
Are you in the festival, or are you just like...
No, like we had a shuttle. We dropped it off, and I remember we were talking about earlier this week, and I drew a map. I'll link them. We'll put the map, my shitty map, in the video. But essentially, like, walk up the stairs, go to the other side. There was a check-in at one point right there, but apparently that wasn't our check-in. No one knew where to go, so we turned back, went down a village road until we saw a bunch of people on the other end, waved at them. Then finally someone came up and saying, like, we told them what we're looking for, and they're like, oh, we don't know. But he was radioing something. And then he's just like, oh, go this way and then take a left. And we're like, okay. So we go take a left, reached into like an open field, and we're just like, are we going the right way? And eventually we get to a certain point where on the left side, like, there was like bushes, and then we see like cars there, and we're like, how the fuck are you supposed to find this?
Yeah, it's tucked away.
Yeah, how are you supposed to find this? And then when we got there, and it's like, oh, you guys are like the first guys here. I'm like, yeah, because no one knows where to go.
Everyone's down the street.
Note to self: email where it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He asked me, "Yo, did you have a hard time finding the entrance to your camping site?" I'm like, "No, not really. They just dropped us straight at the gate."
Yeah, it's probably they learned the lesson from Sonny's here. Yeah.
Yeah, but after that, great. Like, they ran it perfectly the entire weekend. But just the check-in process, everyone was just laughing because we were like the only first like 5 people there, and everyone's wondering where everyone was, and then on this side of the camp.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
We've had some good times at Lost Lands too.
yeah. So as one of the legit camping ones, Lost Lands.
Oh yeah.
The one year we did 6 days.
Yeah, like I said, we went on the Wednesday.
6 days.
6 days of camping.
If
I
anyone,
thought Lost Land Festival is only 3 days.
So
no, you can get early entry.
Yeah.
So what we did is we got early entry for Tuesday.
Which I will recommend to anyone who's going to Lost Lands, go at least on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know if this is the same for other festivals, which I assume it is, the earlier go, the more better spot you're going to get closer to the venue. I have a friend who came on the Thursday. Our walk at Lost Lands from the campsite to the festival was about 10 minutes. They came the next day and they were a 45-minute walk.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
So just go early, because I will be honest, if I had to walk 45 minutes to go change, go make food, and anything, I would have hated it.
Yeah, most of these festivals, so most of these camping festivals have in and outs. Even EDC, they have in and outs at a certain point. So that's one benefit of doing camping. But as what you just said, prepare to walk even more than what you're going to do.
And there will be people who will be on bikes that they literally like pimp out with like all these LED lights and like speakers for $40 to drive you to your campsite.
To ride you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So like the earlier you go with any, I think it's standard throughout. The earlier you go, if you get if they have pre-check-in, like we had Tuesday wristbands, if you get Wednesday wristbands, the closer you'll be to like the Mesa. And honestly, a lot of times you'll be closer to like the hardcore fans too.
That's true, but I will also say I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, I heard at Electric Forest that everyone got screwed and they started filling it in from the back. So everyone who got early was at the very back.
Oh,
Okay, I didn't know.
I think I heard that.
Oh my god.
But we had group camping.
Okay.
So we'll
get into
the first campsite.
Okay.
So when you get into Lost Lands, do you get to choose your own spots?
No. So what for a lot of these camping festivals, what you have to do is you have to show up as a group together. So one idea is meet up at like a Walmart or some sort of grocery store if you're gonna do groceries beforehand, and then everyone just meet up together. Even if you're coming from different areas of like the region, then try to arrive at the same time. Even with security, what they'll do is they'll put you in lines. Like you could be in the same line, but you can even go in separate lines, and then they'll have a holding area after where you meet up with your friends. And then all you guys just go together.
Here's what I thought. Like you deck out your car, put the same pattern, same like lights,
So it's like,
and it's like we are in a group. Like you just tell it to everyone, you know.
No.
But I guess the holding area does work.
Yeah.
Did you guys sleep in the car, or did you get tents and then set them outside the car and then sleep in the tents?
This goes back to the setup. There are people out there who actually can set up their cars to be not like cars, but like maybe like a hatchback or something be like an actual camping thing. Yeah. It's really cool.
Overlanding.
Like
people
if
put
you
the
have
tents on top of the cars.
I think if you have like two people, say it's just you and one other person, it's a great option. Or like a couple, it's a great option because then you still get the comfort of your car.
Another thing people do a lot is just rent U-Hauls.
Yeah, they do.
Sleep in the
a lot
back
of people rent
U-Hauls.
U-Hauls.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah.
So because I was thinking like, oh, maybe you can get like the SUV version of the Tesla and then just
I mean, I've seen some crazy ass cars at some of these like people bring modded cars into a camping festival, and then when they're leaving, their bumper's like half destroyed.
It's because you're going over grass. So bringing cars that are this far off the ground.
Yeah, I know. People are crazy when it comes to this, but like this is where like we talk about like, man, some of the crazy stories we've had are our camping festivals. Like I feel like me doing that 6 days of Lost Land has made every festival in my life easier after that.
That was a tough one. I mean, like, so the way we did it is we got 3 campsites, right? 1, 2, 3, but we only had technically needed for 2. So we used the center one as like a kind of hangout spot.
Yeah.
We had 2 gazebos, like little like Walmart ones, cheap. And then we would have the 2 cars on each side that kind of blocked in our area, so it made it a little bit more private. And then we would have our cooking station and our hangout spot inside the gazebos. And then, so it'd basically be your 2 cars, your gazebo area, a tent, and then another tent in the back.
And you had to pay extra for that one spot, right?
Yes,
correct.
You did.
It was like $300, which honestly, so worth it.
Yeah.
So
like we talk about glamping and all that, but like honestly, camping festivals are cheaper compared to
100%.
other festivals. Like camping at EDC is way more expensive than camping at Lost Lands, because the thing is you're not really restricted by the I think it's 4 maybe.
I think it's 4 people per campsite.
Per campsite, which is pretty good for the value you're getting. Like if Ian's saying $300 to car camp, divide by 4, $100 for a week for that.
That's cheap.
That's also USD.
Yeah.
So.
USD, but then the ticket price on top of that, it's not bad. Then you got all this money to spend for merch.
I mean, like when you go to EDC,
as you can see,
which is what we did doing.
I mean, even like it is definitely cheap. Like when you go hotels for like EDC. Per person accommodations, right? For even splitting between 4 people, you're paying like
$100 a day.
I don't even know how much.
Minimum $150 a day.
Yeah,
I don't even know how much I'm paying yet. I just bought my ticket. I have no idea how much.
It's actually expensive. Like last year, I did was like around 400 to 600 like per person.
Yeah.
Like for all 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
But if you tell me like $100 for the whole weekend, but I have to bring my own gear. If I already have it, it's dirt cheap.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You just
get the early entry too.
You just lose the comfort. You give away the comfort for a cheap I guess it's a cheaper experience. I guess.
Yeah, but once again, the comfort aspect comes over time because like then
then you have your own gear. Like I wouldn't be surprised if people bring actual like full on mattress.
Oh no, they do. This is where you get into more advanced. But like I think what we want to dedicate this episode on is like, what do you need to survive? Initially, like what's the basics? Like for me personally, like I am bare bones. Like as I said, I will not camp without Ian because he has every other equipment. I've literally just show up in like a sleeping bag and that's about it, and like my car. If I
he comes over like a week later and we're just taking out everything from the shed and it's like, you need this? Yep. Okay, you need this? Yep. The other thing too, like, I mean, I know camping, there's a lot, like it's a lot less efficient. You know, it's not as easy, but there's also so much more fun that comes with it because it's like you're staying over at a friend's house, but with thousands of people. You don't know who you're going to come across. You have people that are like you meet all the time because you also become like, you have camp neighbors, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you're going to have people beside you, behind you that you don't know.
Except for I wanted to kill our camp neighbors on the one day.
Yes.
So,
and we've had many bad camp neighbors. Well, not many. I've had a few.
So imagine doing 6 days of a festival. On the final day, your neighbors pull out the DJ equipment, set up speakers on the thing, and then just spin until 6 a.m. in the morning. And everyone has to leave at like 9 a.m.
We have a crowd outside of our campsite. Like 50 people, like literally outside of our campsite. And there's people walking in between ours. And it's like, get out of here, first of all. All of our stuff's here. 6 o'clock in the morning, they're blasting music. And it's not like, you know, oh, it's facing the other way. It was like right next to us. So that was also interesting. And then you have all the chatter of everyone in the crowd talking.
Yeah. How does power work?
That's a very good.
That's a very good question. So a lot of times you just use your car. Like I think even for us, we charge our phones using my car.
Yeah.
Start up the car.
No, I'm not
Make sure that you fill up on gas before you get there because if you're gonna use your car to charge, you got to make sure you have enough gas.
I think I went through half a tank of gas just at the festival.
Can you bring a generator?
No,
I don't think you can.
But you can start your car. That's fine.
But can you bring like a jerry can full of like fuel?
I tried. At Electric Forest, one of the people we were camping with ran out of gas. We left the festival to go get them gas. They wouldn't let us in. 2 hours it took us. We ended up in the DJ camping area. We ended up backstage in my truck, by the way, backstage behind the stage. And then we ended up sneaking our way in because they wouldn't let us in with the gas can. And then they also wouldn't let us in with the car anymore because it was now too late and the gates were closed. But we spent 2 hours, me and my partner, and we ended up sneaking in with my truck and the gas. But I will say generator, I don't think the bigger festivals will allow you to, but like Grid Life, there's definitely people with generators there. Yeah. But that's probably because it's more car oriented, right?
It really depends, but I think a lot, like EDC too, when they set it up, like you have a power outlet in your tent because what?
Yeah.
But they have actual
it's luxury.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't count that as camping. They gotta make
that's what I mean.
That's why we have a difference between legit camping.
This is
There's gotta be
legit
an
camping.
You can still get good stories like I had.
You
still
literally
get
have
stories.
nothing.
But like as I said, Lost Lands changed me. I had like
that's carnival camping.
Somehow I survived with a deflated mattress. And it was very cold and I was very unprepared. This hoodie literally probably saved me the entire week at Lost Lands at night.
At night it goes down to like how low
like
degrees?
Literally like 35 Celsius or 35 sorry Fahrenheit. Freedom units.
Yeah.
In this case.
35
freedom units.
We gotta make sure that's converted.
35 Fahrenheit should be around 0.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's 40 is 0. 40 Fahrenheit.
No, it's 30. It's 30 is 0.
Okay. 32 or 30.
But it's like in between 30 to 40. Like it's cold. As what Christine said, it got cold when she went. Yeah.
And the thing is
in September, right? So it's around fall time.
Exactly. And it's like you still have your nice days, but you get your cold nights.
Can you do fires? No, right?
No.
Big no.
Big no.
I was thinking of bringing like those like flint, magnesium and flint.
You could just bring a lighter.
Yeah.
You're still allowed a lighter.
Yeah.
Oh, legit camping. You know?
That's even less.
Two weeks and stop doing this.
Just keep warm.
We're not cavemen here. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, like the mattress deflating on him at Lost Lands. I appreciate him saying like he relies on me for all this stuff, and then I let him down with that. We got a mattress for him, and ended up having a hole in it. Ours also had a hole in it, and it deflated. Like so it was me and my girlfriend had a double mattress. It was a queen, and it was a double stacked one, so it was massive. He had a single. His had a hole in it, leaked. He was on the ground, which is like it's bad. But me and my girlfriend had it so much worse because ours would deflate, but not enough to flat. So because our
You wake up in the
bodies-
morning, you just see one of them caved in on the
It would
thing.
be a V and us on top of each other in the middle because although all of our weight would go to the
Yeah,
center.
center, yeah.
It was awful because if
Yeah.
you put your weight to the side, you'd fall off.
And then we have to refill it like every day. This is where the whole gas thing came in, where I turn on my car, we
Yeah.
get the air compressor.
But thankfully, we had friends who were coming. We got them to buy mattresses on the way up. Well, no, yours didn't.
No,
pop at this
I
point.
suffered. I suffered
I
the
got a
entire
new
week.
mattress, and then his popped or started deflating the next day. So I said, "Do you want this one that's going to deflate and you're going to be in a V, or do you want the one you had now?" And he just kept that one.
I just.
You should have took the V though, because they would be sleeping on a new mattress.
I know,
Then
but
your
like
whole weight
I
would
had
be
a
on the V.
sleeping bag on top of it, so I just treated it as like how I did EDC, where I slept
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
sleeping.
So I guess the moral of the story is bring tape.
We had tape.
We had
it.
tape too.
We found the hole. Well, we thought we did, and it worked for like a couple hours. It was not deflating, but it still did. Mattresses, when they have the smallest hole, you might as well just throw it away.
Maybe not just regular tape. You need flex
No,
tape.
it was genuinely called mattress hole tape or whatever.
I just know next time I go anywhere, I'm just gonna ask Kieran for his.
It was actually a patch.
Because I took it when we went to what is it Montreal that one weekend. I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, it goes up high, and then it has its own inflator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so did ours, or the one that popped.
Yeah.
The new one didn't.
But yeah, the one thing about a lot of these camping festivals is the bathroom and shower situation, which
Yeah, so-
Ian's girlfriend had a lovely time with.
So my girlfriend got very anxious. She gets very anxious, and that was her first festival.
Yeah.
Because
So
no,
one mistake too. We took her to her first festival, which was Lost Lands, for 6 days.
Okay, but also let's blame it on the assholes over at Ever After, because that was supposed to be her first festival before it got canceled, and then Lost Lands was the next one up.
I've
so-
never seen someone so broken after a festival.
She
and I
was
literally
bad.
told Ian, I'm like, we are never doing that
never doing
again.
that.
She
ever.
didn't poop the entire festival. There was a point where one of our friends that we went with was a registered nurse, and we were considering an enema.
Was this because she didn't want to, or just because she couldn't?
She genuinely couldn't.
Yeah.
Because of the anxiety?
She ate or drank an entire thing of laxatives,
And she couldn't
Oh
even.
my
couldn't.
gosh!
but she was sick, feeling
Yeah.
like
Of
she was
course,
so
yeah.
full, but she couldn't go. Laxatives. We were like talking to the medic tents. They're like, we can't do it. All we can do is send you to a hospital, which obviously you're in the States. We don't want to pay that
Yeah.
money. So she ended up not pooping the entire, and that's like just like she hated that. It was awful, right? It ruins your experience. So
You have to pay for showers too.
For 6 days,
For
you
long
couldn't
though.
poop.
yeah,
Oh, that's brutal.
That's
Yeah.
brutal.
it's bad.
Even though eating one meal a day, but like that's.
No, she
still
probably ate
brutal.
more.
Yeah.
She I don't know actually. I can't really remember. I mean, like Lost Lands was my best, I would say it's about the best out of country festival I've ever been to. The craziest things have ever happened to me there. One crazy story. This one is
Also, yeah, Ian, for those of you who don't know, even at regular shows, if he goes away, he'll come back with a story, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?"
I'm
just
not a
happened?"
wanderer either. I just
Yeah.
want to put that out
It's
there.
like, what the fuck just happened in 10 minutes? You were just gone for 10 minutes.
I like it was one of those things where the new joke was Ian has a crazy story if he comes back. But I'm also not the type of person who's like always wandering.
Looking for the story.
I stay in one place, but then I'm like, I'm gonna go use the washroom. Something crazy happens. So me and Sonny were at one of the stages. It's like 2:00 in the morning. We're hanging out. We're watching like some set that was going on, and we're excited for one that's coming up. Some random girl comes up to me, and she's like looking into the crowd, like because we're a little bit up on a hill, right? She's looking over into the crowd, and we're like, what's going on? What are you looking for? She's like, oh, I'm looking for my boyfriend. I was in the pit, and I got smacked in the head. And she's like, I ran out of the crowd because like I got hit in the head so hard, and she's like, I can't find my boyfriend. I'm like, okay, well, like I could try to help you a little bit here, because I was taller. She was like short. So I'm like looking. I'm like, what does he look like? Oh, he's wearing a bright orange toque. Easy, right?
Easy, yeah.
You're gonna find that in the crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking. I can't find it. She's like, here, come closer into the crowd so you can see better, because we were pretty far back. And as you know, I freaking hate crowds. So the fact that I'm actually willing to go into the crowd with this woman, she better respect the fact that I did that, because I did not want to do that. So I'm now into the crowd. I left Sonny at this point. Sonny's just like, all right, see you later, right? I'm now going into the crowd. Then I'm like looking, I can't see, because now I'm in the crowd. There's a lot more taller people around me. Some guy, don't know why, is sitting next to me with a folding chair Where'd you get it from? No clue. But I'm like, yo, can I stand on that? He's like, sure. Folds out the chair. I'm standing on this folding chair in the middle of the crowd. Now I'm like a good 2 feet above everyone. So if someone's looking at me, they're probably like, how is that guy that tall? I'm looking, still can't find anything. She's like, let me go up. She goes up. She's looking. She can't find anything. Let's go deeper into the crowd.
Why? That makes
now
no
we're going
sense.
to the pit.
Yeah.
That's why. We're going to the actual pit. To
Now,
see if
I
she wants to be in the
follow.
pit.
Ian's a very kind soul with that. I didn't follow because this girl also seemed very messed up on some vitamins. So I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, Ian, you can go.
At this, I was like, okay, if she is on vitamins and she's like, okay, she got hit in the head. She's probably seeing some other things right now. I was like, let me just try to help her out.
Right.
Now we're going to the pit. I'm like, okay, we're not finding him. I'm like, let's get out of the crowd real quick. So we went in from the back. Now we went to the left. So now we're on the side of the stage. I look at her dead in the eyes. I'm not even kidding you. I held her shoulders and I looked at her dead in the eyes and I said, promise me you're not fucked up. Right. I said, I will help you, but promise me you are not fucked up right now.
Yeah, you're not screwing me over.
She's like, I promise you I'm not fucked up. I got hit in the head in the pit and I can't find my boyfriend. I said, fine, I will help you. The next thing this person says is, I know the DJ. I'll get him to say it on the mic.
Oh, no way. Did that happen?
Bro, right off the bat, all of my trust for her of her not being fucked up out the window. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Right? So now I'm like, I want to see what happens. So now I'm following her to the backstage because I'm like, what's going on? She goes to the security. She's trying to get up. And of course the security is like, where's your wristband?
Yeah.
She doesn't have it. So she's like, I can't let you up. And I'm like, this is just going to be, like, what's she going to do from here?
Yeah, right?
Like, what are you going to do? Next thing you know, one of the DJs that are backstage, Morgan, goes, dabs her up, takes her arm, she turns around, grabs my arm, pulls us up.
So you were in the backstage. You
Now
were
I'm
on
behind
the
the stage.
Yeah, okay.
I'm meeting every
DJ.
rhythm DJ, YouTubers who are just focused on
Rhythm.
like, I didn't even know what to say. I was so not expected for this. I'm sitting there just like, hi, like, hello, and she's like showing me. She's like, oh yeah, so that's Graham Greene. Oh yeah, this is I forget the DJ. I'm not gonna remember the name. But there's so many DJs that I'm meeting, and I literally had the opportunity to like go behind the DJ deck, but I was so nervous because I'm like, I'm backstage right now, because she ended up just leaving after, because one of the other guys was like, oh, I know where he is, come follow me, and she's like, okay, bye, and I was like, peace.
Oh.
She ended up
She just left you there.
no, she did end up taking my Instagram, but her focus was to find her boyfriend. I was like, cool, I'm gonna stay back here because it's kind of cool. Yeah. So I was backstage and I was so ready to go behind the DJ deck, but I convinced myself not to because I didn't want to get in trouble. So I left, but then the next set that came on, which was the set we were waiting for.
Who was playing on that set
it was
before?
It was Infect, and there's a lot of people who say that set was like legendary because he was playing and he had like 50, maybe not 50, 25 DJs behind him going so hard, and it's just like seeing the video of this DJ playing with all these DJs behind, just like couldn't believe what they were like listening to right now.
Yeah.
Such
and you were part of that.
Well, I could have been. I left.
Yeah, he left.
But then I only
Why?
noticed,
Why did you go
because
leave?
I didn't want to get in trouble, and I didn't know that that was gonna happen. So when I got back and I saw that, I was like, that could have been me, right?
Yeah.
Also, funny enough, I'm actually seeing Infect next weekend in Buffalo, so I am gonna go see him again. But that was my backstage story.
May 11th?
May 11th.
You should have said hi to Infect, and maybe next week
Well,
he can bring you.
He wasn't there. Like, I didn't see him backstage because he wasn't on yet. It was still like 30 minutes until the next set, which we were waiting for.
I would have stayed.
But yeah, then I go back and I'm like, Sonny, I don't even know how to start this one.
Famous one, the famous story. You're not gonna believe what happened to me. I'm just like,
That's
what?
always the line.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know,
And then you also lost your phone.
I also lost my phone. You know, that's a terrifying feeling. I have never lost anything at a rave. I mean, whatever. I lost a water bottle or this. I have never lost anything, but I lost my phone.
It wasn't even pickpocketed.
No, I was sitting there. I had my phone in my lap. I guess I forgot. And when I stood up, I guess it flung off my lap, and I walked to the next stage. Who's playing? Elenium. So the feelings are starting. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got Elenium playing, and I'm like, all right, let me take a video.
Gone.
And that feeling when
Of
you're
like
patting your pockets and there's nothing there is the worst feeling, especially now you're in America. It's not even like mid-festival. Like, we're probably day 1, right? I'm like, it's over. game over.
It's over.
I'm like now running back and forth to where we were sitting. I'm looking around.
Because we went to the other stage. So what it happened at the
main
stage, and then we went to the second stage, and then it's like a little pathway you have to go through. So he bolted back to the other stage.
Couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's gone.
I mean,
No.
yeah, it's gone.
No, it's not gone.
I got my girlfriend to text it. And this is why I will always to this day live. I never will hide my text messages on my home screen. She texted saying, if you found this phone, text this number. Someone found it. Not even within 15, 20 minutes. Texted the number. We met up with them at the stage like within an hour. Got my phone back and I gave him $20.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, that is like, thank you so
This was
much.
at Lost Land?
At Lost, I will say, I have like there's dubstep shows and there are some people in the dubstep crowd that are just annoying to deal with.
But
at Lost Lands, it was a different story. There was like actually Plur in the dubstep scene, which I love to see. Very nice people, very respectful. I don't think I saw, other than our neighbors who had a full-on fighting match. It was like I had to step in.
Our other neighbors.
Yeah, our other neighbors.
This is with the neighbor next to him is the one who spun till 6 a.m.
So we had a good neighbor. Then we had a fighting neighbor that ended up leaving early because they got in a massive fight.
And they just got married a week ago too.
Yeah,
It's like,
and they were sleeping in a U-Haul. And then the next neighbors were the ones who were spitting till 6 a.m. That's what I mean. You get good neighbors and bad neighbors. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Lost Lands, crazy.
See, you don't get these stories at a hotel.
No.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I
don't.
mean.
Yeah,
I think that's the premise of why we're telling these stories, is that some of these happen in a genuine community, right?
Yeah,
Where-
I mean, like, people always like question like what's the main difference between like camping and also like just going to a festival regularly, right?
I've said it before. You never like when for EDC, you never leave that EDC vibe. Well, it's just like this. You never leave that festival vibe.
Everyone's Plur.
Everyone's
like,
Plur.
friendly.
Everyone's trying to like be friendly. So
It's a great experience.
Yeah,
It's so much fun.
yeah.
And I mean, like, the other thing too, like when you're going to like these festivals, if you have friends who are going, like I mentioned, I had a friend who came on the Thursday. We went on the Wednesday, and they were like a 45-minute walk, probably about 30 between our tent and theirs, and then 45 from the festival. So when they arrived, they said like, you know, oh, like we're in, like, because they actually named the different like areas as like after dinosaurs, because that's what Lost Lands thing is about. And they're like, oh, we're in Pterodactyl. So me and Zoe, my girlfriend, we're walking there to go try to find her, and she's like, yeah, I'm next to a U-Haul. So when you look through a field and you just see 40 U-Hauls, where do I start? Mm-hmm. But as I'm walking and we're walking through and we're looking to find our friend through a bunch of U-Hauls, I end up seeing a car that had an Ontario plate on it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, we're in Ohio, it's another Ontario. So I was like, yo, what's up? You're from Ontario too? And like, we're starting to, you know, shoot the shit. We're talking. Then another guy comes out. He comes around. Would you believe 1 week ago, my neighbor threw a backyard party, invited his friends, which I didn't know. One of his friends that we saw in the backyard party, we're like, yo, we're both going to Lost Lands. That was his car. We had no communication. We had no plan of meeting up.
Small world.
Randomly came across him. And that's what I mean. You just get to know these people.
From,
whether it's from where you're coming from, because you can really relate on that, or it's the music you're listening to. And that's what I mean. Like, the camping vibe is a whole different story.
It's a different way to meet. Like, obviously, we've all met people at events and at festivals, but at camping, you're not really... Like at that point, it's like you're just chilling, right? So you're just chilling with your neighbors in that sense, right?
So
like,
you're not really prepared for any of these things to happen, but they just happen.
They just happen essentially, right? Like, and then like Electric Forest too. The one thing about camping festivals, which is what everyone we'll talk about when we pack, is be prepared for rain.
See, there's good stories, but there's also bad stories.
Yes, and our rain story at Electric Forest, the final day, it was
bad,
an absolute disaster. We'll have a video. We'll have a little. I have a video of like us holding up our tents.
Oh,
but
I think I've seen this.
We'll put it in the video. But you should have seen the downpour we had to deal with.
It was like tornado.
Was this last year?
This was last year.
Yeah. They shut down the festival. Like every stage was just flashing red, saying like alert, go to shelter.
We have the one video I have too is us walking out of the festival and you just see the clouds, and we didn't make it in time.
You weren't with me.
I was behind. You might have made it, but I didn't make it. But
no, we were behind you guys.
So you guys were.
I didn't make it. I didn't make it.
R.I.P. my boy Sonny. He's buried at Electric Forest still to this day. No, but we were at literally the very, very back of the festival.
I think you made it before me somehow.
Maybe.
But like literally, like I got to the mesa because our group camping was like by the mesa. downpour started. I was drenched. I was drenched. So what happened is like the rain just started. We were holding up all our canopies. Like our canopy collapsed. Or we had a group. So at Electric Forest they offer group camping. So we did group camping with I don't know how many
15 people.
Like it was almost like 20. No, it was like 20 to 25 people.
Crazy.
So with multiple cars there. But we were all holding up these canopies because it was like just downpour. Unfortunately, our tent zipper broke the night before.
Oh,
Yeah,
so everything leaked into it.
Oh, that's the thing. The rain wasn't coming down like.
It was like coming
down
sideways.
Yeah.
So
it actually,
I am there, inside the tent, soaked head to toe, holding this little flap as close as I can, while there's literally a pool of water forming in our tent. Like our tent is flooding, and all of our stuff is everywhere because, of course, you know your tent, you're camping. You're not gonna have it all neatly stacked. No. So now everything's getting soaked, and I literally am sitting there holding this thing. My girlfriend Zoe is just taking anything she can, shoving it in bags. Right. Our other friend John, same thing. Sonny shows up like, yo, what's up? I'm like, get your ass in here. Yeah. We got to get this stuff packed up. So we start throwing stuff in the back of my truck because like everything's getting soaked. And I have a very big pet peeve. I hate being wet. Yeah. I hate having wet clothes on.
Yeah, me too.
Worst.
Yeah,
is your car like a leather seat?
Oh no, we had a truck.
So luckily for this one, we had a leather truck because usually we take my Mazda and like it's packed to the brim. When we did Lost Lands, we'll have a video. Or no, Lost Lands too. When we took my vehicle, you can literally see it's like packed to the brim, and we have to like close it. At least with this truck, we didn't have to do anything, so we just
throw everything in because I had the bed and I had a cap.
But essentially, what happened is like we were debating leaving the festival completely, but we decided to stay. And then just leave at the end of the night. So we didn't even stay and got a hotel.
I don't even know. I would probably leave. Like
and honestly,
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was wearing Sonny's underwear and sweatpants. All mine was soaked. Right? I was wearing his underwear and sweatpants, and then he gave me these slides, which I had no socks because they were all soaked. Mm-hmm. And the slides had like these little points on them that were so painful to step on, and that's how I had to wear.
Oh, jeez.
I had my own T-shirt, thankfully.
You gotta get vesties, bro.
Vesties.
Honestly, they're really great.
I've heard.
Especially for festivals too, when it's all wet. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, like.
We're not paid by vesties, by the way.
You can sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
We'll take sponsors.
But I mean, like, I will say, like the rain. That is the one thing that rain turns me off from any activity.
Yeah,
no matter what.
But it is a reality at camping festivals, so please be prepared.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I think even any festivals, like we recommend you to bring like a set of ponchos.
But like for camping, you just gotta make sure you're
any outdoor event.
Yeah,
bring a poncho.
Poncho, yeah.
They will
like our hat that shade. What's that block? What's that? Gets water off your face is like much better too. Yeah. So like to have all this like experience, like you need to also like survive, right? To this camping festival. So like some of the notable like must have, even though it may or may not show up in the checklist. The checklist will probably give you like a set of towels, toiletries that you need to bring. But some of these like essential stuff that I'm learning to survive. Yeah, to survive. To survive like the whole 6 days of Lost Lands, if let's say you go, right, or maybe Electric Forest for 3 days, right? So some of these events, they give you like a spot where you can actually put your do your camp stuff. Like it's nice to have a gazebo.
Yeah, I think that's key. Even if you just have like one spot, you just want a gazebo over your tent. Or like some sort of like
just somewhere to hang out.
Yeah,
that's not in the tent.
It's not in the tent because like in the tent it's like cooking. Like,
yeah, absolutely. During the day, yeah, and it's also just not really.
A gazebo is what's a gazebo?
It's like you basically have this metal frame that like folds out, and it's like it's basically a little roof. Roof. And then you use like a felt that wraps up over top of it.
So it's a tent with just the top part.
Yeah, it's like a cover. Now, if you're like solo camping, then you probably didn't. I know a couple people, they just like have their car and then they just have a tent behind. Not a problem. Yeah. But this is like kind of like if you have a group, definitely get a gazebo if you guys are doing multiple.
Yeah. Just having the airways flowing from all directions is always nice.
Well, I see, and that's the thing. I would almost recommend against that because having the air flow is nice, but I would recommend covering some of the walls because there's privacy. right?
And shade too.
And shade. Where we were set up during Lost Lands, our campsite was literally right off of the main road that people would take to get to every other campsite. So you'd have people walking by all the time. So with our 2 cars and a canopy in between them, we actually hung like tapestries and stuff on that wall so that it would stop any people from being able to see in.
We pretty much had an entranceway only through the cars.
Yeah.
So you had to go through like on the side of our car to come in.
So people would
is
also
like
cut through your campsite.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? It also acts as like what Sonny said. It's like a shade. Like it can keep you cool because the sun does obviously move and it's not always going to be above you. And it also, you know, some people like to decorate, right? You see some people who will actually like run like little strip lighting through it and like have like their flags. Like we had Canadian flags that we popped.
Yeah. So that's how people knew.
And I mean, like, you know, one thing that people don't think about is like, okay, well, you get tapestries. How do you hang these tapestries onto these things? Well, you know, clothespins, great item so that you can hang these onto there. There's also, you know, zip ties, bringing zip ties, some way of like attaching things. You want to think about that.
Is the campsite like, is there light? Like, do they have like light poles?
No,
there?
you have to bring
pitch black.
It's pitch like we set up our tent in pitch black. But what you want for camping is like if you're gonna do like a gazebo or something, you want like flashlights. You want lanterns that you can hang up top to turn on and off.
Yeah, electric lanterns, right? Not fuel lanterns.
No, exactly. No. You want the LED ones.
You can bring propane.
Yeah, you can bring.
You're
propane.
allowed to bring propane,
but like,
so you could bring those ones.
But I think you can just get one of those cheap LED ones.
Can you bring like, you know, those? It's like a fire pit with a propane. Can you bring those?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's actually one thing I had on this list is a barbecue or a cooktop. Now, in most cases, you're not going to be allowed to bring like charcoal.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't recommend it because like you're going to go through charcoal really quick because you're going to be starting and stopping it so many times.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what we do, like I have like a propane stove that actually has like circle things or whatever they're called, burners. And then we also have one that's like a flat plate, so you can cook like as if it was on a pan.
Like a barbecue.
Like a barbecue, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be bringing these type of things, just make sure you also bring like something to clean it with, because you may think, okay, I'm gonna cook food on it. How are you gonna scrape the grease off?
Yeah.
Do they provide you with water, or is there like a water fountain?
They do water. Like they have the normal water fountains that you can refill hydration, and you can fill up anything like jugs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's water stations.
Now the one thing about the barbecue and cooktop, this is like if you want to elevate your camping experience, you can technically go to like a Lost Lands or Electric Forest and not have it and be totally fine.
Just instant noodles.
I will be honest.
You just have to pay a little bit extra for food at the pavilion, or as what Benny just said, like some sort of quick way to make like something cold or like.
I barely eat.
Yeah,
like, I would barely eat. But we were with some people who like to cook bacon and stuff.
Yeah,
and some people do like that.
Yeah. When it's camping, it's like it's nice to like cook too.
Yeah, some people love
feels
feast.
like it's actually
It's also like a part of camping. It's like the experience of trying to cook with not as convenient as you do at home, right?
Yeah.
Now with that, you need folding out tables. That's key if you're going to set up anything like that.
And don't just bring one.
Like bring multiple.
Two. It depends on your group size, but 2 or 3 would be a fantastic, because you want one that's like your, you know, all like your cups, your breads, the things, chip bags. People are going to take them and go with them. Then you have one that's your cooking station where you're going to have all your grills and stuff on. And you're going to have another one which is just kind of like a throw anything on, like a drink or whatever like that. And some people might also use it as like a games table, like beer pong. So I would recommend 2 to 3 at least. Different sizes is fine, but folding tables and also camping chairs, because you want somewhere to sit.
Exactly. And a lot of times with these camping setups too, is the chairs are mainly just a chill out zone, right? So a lot of times you just have like one of the tarps and everyone just hangs around, bing bag chair, brings a chair, just plops it down, sits down. It's really nice just chilling out with your friends there. And
also at Lost Lands, our campsite became like the community campsite, because we had people that were hanging out in our campsite that we knew or just met. But
we were along the path, because we were along the path before they went to the mesa. They dropped by,
and they just hang out for like
minutes.
So it was nice, and I think that's also one of the things I really liked, is that there was a very good community that we built there of people that we knew that we didn't know were going, or people that we met, right?
Wait, you mentioned also like chips and whatnot. Can you bring those into the festival?
Yes. So if you're gonna, for anyone to, even for EDC, bring snacks. Like just try to do a grocery run, even if you have to Uber. Try to do a grocery run and bring snacks or something.
Because you won't be eating much anyway, so you might as well have some snacks.
Like you could buy like I'm when I did EDC, like we just brought snacks, but like I have my one meal at the mesa. but I still want snacks, right?
Yeah.
I still want something like I'm not gonna keep eating at the Mesa, or that adds up. So like even if you don't do like what we
$100 pizza.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my one meal of the day. That might have been one meal for multiple days at that point. But yes, $100 pizza.
I'd say for me, like the dried sausages, like it's not like beef jerky. It's it's the dried sausages.
Oh, you're thinking of pepperettes?
Yeah. Those are great.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that, just something to snack on. Like
But the only
I
thing
was just trying to imagine that because I've never been to Lhasa and somebody would have like a huge bag of Cheetos headbanging while eating Cheetos.
Not in the festival.
no, you can't bring it.
it.
Only
No,
the camp.
so there's two different entrances. There's a camp entrance and then the festival entrance.
So the camp entrance, they still do another check.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camp entrance
Is like your car.
is like your car check, and then festival entrance is like your normal festival entrance. So you can't bring anything from that.
Can't bring
into,
alcohol.
Yeah, you can't bring alcohol.
Now
but
it's just now that whole image just all thrown out.
Yeah. No, it's not like I can just bring whatever into the festival.
Yeah. Some other ones, like if you're gonna cook garbage, please, for the love of God,
Yes.
don't like
Throw it.
Respect the environment. Usually, a lot of times the land is owned by someone, so clean up after yourselves.
Bring in garbage bags, and honestly, just recycle.
Just
It's
exactly.
easy. But half the time, you just have a place you leave it, and they will come and pick it up for you. You don't even have to like take it for like they will come and get
It's
it.
like a
Just
mini
make
house.
sure
Literally,
big-
that's how it is. A mini house, you put it outside, and then someone picks it up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then
But do they tell you that? Like when is the time that they come and do it?
Well, there's like garbage cans at the corners of like these areas that you
Right.
bring your garbage to, right? So they don't really say like, although they may tell you like, hey, we'll pick up the garbage, but you'll see
People,
And
they're just constantly around picking
Yeah,
up trash.
exactly.
It's
Like
also
sometimes you'll
disgusting.
see
I
the
know.
cart.
But
and
then the
you-
thing is that the garbage can is just small, right? So like people would
it's
just
gross.
bring.
It gets overflowed.
No.
Like
so like people just throw garbage right next to it. Or
if it's because it's right beside the campsites. There's some campsites that it'll be right next to, and you'll have a mountain of garbage bags and just like crap everywhere.
Yeah,
Jeez.
They do clean up pretty good though, but if it's that time where you're waiting for them to come get it, it can get gross.
Yeah. So with that being said, like disinfectant spray, yes.
Yeah.
That's great for anything,
Yeah.
cleaning up. Like we had actually, funny enough, Electric Forest again. Someone dropped their phone in the porta potty.
No, that sounds so bad.
It was bad, and
It was
the
bad.
guy was freaking out, and I was like, I have disinfectant spray in my. I was like,
you,
'cause
but
he-
you gotta go. You gotta.
Oh,
reach it.
I think he already got it out somehow. I can't remember. He's like tongs or something and threw them away. But I got him the disinfectant spray and he wiped it down. And it was so funny because he ended up taking the bottle with him. And I was like, I guess he just stole my bottle. He actually came and brought it back and left it under our truck, which was nice of him because he said he would bring it back. I was like, sure, whatever.
Oh yeah, he wasn't even at our campsite. It was,
Yeah, it was a
someone
random
else,
guy.
some random guy.
But that
Interesting.
definitely, and not just that, but like make sure you bring like wet wipes and toilet paper because like the bathrooms, you're gonna get the 1-ply. I'm not too sure if you guys enjoy having your butt ripped apart.
No, sometimes you don't
Especially
even
at
get
a
any
festival.
reply.
Especially at a festival. No.
No, but then like I have a friend. He recently invested in a portable bidet.
Oh, I have one of those. It's
Yeah.
like a
But the,
thing you
but,
squirt.
but, but the problem
Yeah.
is that I don't know if those will work at festival porta potties.
It's kind of. I don't want
I
to
know it's
touch
a spray
anything
one.
inside there.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing.
I don't want to be like. I don't want to accidentally. I don't want to touch anything.
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
don't.
put
I
it
don't.
that way.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I literally, and I will be completely honest, I bring toilet paper everywhere I go. If I was to go in my truck, I have 3 rolls of toilet paper in there because I don't want to use 1-ply in a Tim Hortons or McDonald's. So if I gotta go and I can prepare, I will bring my own toilet paper roll in because at the end of the day, especially at a music festival, you're not going to be showering as much, right? I mean, most people might not. And at the end of the day, you don't want to have that uncomfortable feeling. So just be efficient. Right?
So another way is where you don't carry a toilet paper roll is you can do something called wet wipes, like just not even like wet wipe packs, with a lot of places have. It's funny. I have a funny story where in my sling that I usually have every now and then, I actually have wet wipes in one of the zippers.
Right.
And I remember I went to Rebel and she opened it. And she's like, "What do you plan to do here?" I'm just like, "I just have these here. I just have these here." She's like, "What are these?" I'm like, "They're wet wipes." Like, "What do you plan to do here?" I'm like, "Nothing. I just have it with me."
I plan to be clean.
Yeah.
Okay. None of your business.
Yeah, you Rebel toilet paper shit.
I know.
That's true.
But one other thing with all this, cooler. It's probably one of the most important things you can have. I mean, ice, that's what we talked about, the ice runs you gotta do, but
You gotta
like
keep your
keeping
food
your food cold
cold and drinks
and drinks, iced coffee.
and $100 pizzas.
And yes, in case you need to eat it another day.
Which I also have on the list. Foil and plastic wrap isn't another good idea because if you did buy pizza or you bought something from
I'm never gonna live this.
And let's say you wanted to keep it, but obviously you're not just gonna throw a whole pizza into a soaking wet, bucket of water pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
You wrap it in tin foil, you put it on top of the ice, and it will be okay. Now there are some times where we have brought burgers and the ice is melted inside the cooler. And then it seeped through the package for the burgers, and the whole water just turned bloody.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. Or like the burgers, because they were eating vegan burgers, my partner and Sonny, and they would just like blow up to such massive sizes because they sucked in all the water.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in mind is if you're going to go, bring a lot of Ziploc bags so you can keep all your meats and stuff in there so the water does not get in.
Yeah. We also tell people for like festivals to bring Ziploc bags. It's a good way to
everything.
100%.
Yeah, it's a good way to block out water.
For sure.
Well, one thing with all this is not important if you don't bring a tent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So one thing is that festival camping number 1, someone in your group please bring a tent or else you're going to have a bad time or not even be able to set up anything. In fact, I think some of these places have like an emergency tent you can buy that's like charges you an arm and a leg, right, in order to do it. With that also, with rain, tarp. Tarp is something a lot of people forget. You do not want your camp sitting on the grass. You want something under it to protect it. So bringing tarps.
A vapor barrier.
Yeah, some sort of vapor barrier to put underneath it is very handy.
There are also like different thickness of tarps, right?
Well, it's because like what happens is the moisture in the grass, like when overnight, and then it would just seep right through your tent. So anywhere you touch is gonna be wet because obviously a tent is so thin.
Yeah.
So you get like a nice tarp that you lay down, and if it is a colder like festival, then you can get like an insulated one. But you lay that down mainly to stop the water from being able to seep through the tent, and that will stop just everything getting wet. But you also have to make sure that you have a front door that doesn't have rain coming in. That also helps stop everything getting wet.
Make sure your zippers work.
So, in total, how many times have you gone to Lost Lands?
Twice. Yeah.
Did it rain both times? Or
no, electric force is where it rained.
Electric force where it rained. Lost Lands, we had one time where it was like crazy thunderstorm, but it did rain like slightly. All I remember is my one buddy in the middle of the night when just freak thunderstorm and rain happened. All I hear is an "oh fuck" because he left the truck window open, and he just like you just hear that and wake up. I'm like, oh shit, and like everyone's like kind of awake. And I just hear an "oh fuck" and he's like bolting out of the tent to shut his window.
Did you get it in time?
He did get it in time.
Nice. I mean, like there's so many things when it comes to camping.
Yeah, like to prevent rain, there's like umbrella, ponchos.
Yeah, like I mean, the umbrella can be used for multiple things: heat or rain, right? Sometimes people use an umbrella to stop the heat from coming down.
the shade.
So the shade, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it saved us at Electric Forest. It was so hot. I found this random like EDM, like it was supposed to be like a rainbow, fancy looking umbrella on the ground, and I was like, okay, well I guess free umbrella, and it helped us because it was so hot. Just to name off others, a mirror. Some people don't think about how you're not going to have that way of easily seeing yourself. Some people use their phones, which works, but you can't.
A lot of festivals don't let you bring mirrors in, though.
Is that right?
That is true. So one thing to note, guys, is look at the checklist, the rules, and the prohibited items. Places like Shambhala, they don't want mirrors at all.
Why?
It's part of just
glass.
the rules.
Glass,
probably the glass.
Glass.
Yeah.
Like they don't even let alcohol in for that reason. Like they just don't want any glass on their site. So
they don't want to get
you
cut.
can sneak it in, but be prepared to toss it out.
Yeah.
Just
what about we don't need to bring like a full body mirror. You just need something to look at yourself, right?
In most cases, you could probably get in if you have it in your bag, like a vanity mirror.
Yeah.
Right. Just something simple. I mean, just to bang off some others, masks. Electric Forest example, so dusty. Masks are great for that reason.
Pashminas.
Pashminas or handkerchief or like bandana.
Warm clothes. Just because it's summer does not mean it's not going to be cold at night. Bring very warm clothes. Lost Lands was freezing, and thankfully I brought like all warm clothes because it was cold. It was getting very cold.
But when you say warm clothes, do you mean like Grey Goose jacket?
No. I mean, you can. Honestly, I could have probably worn a jacket, but we're like, I would say yes. For that, like that night, there were some nights where it was like
if you have room, the problem is with a lot of these camping festivals, especially if you don't have the right vehicle, you're only limited on so much space, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, one of the when I heard you guys say that some people just rent out U-Haul trucks,
That's
I think that's like a great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like when
it's
you
actually
empty
cheaper
out,
than renting a car. Apparently.
yeah, when you empty out all the stuff inside the U-Haul truck, it's like a nice flatbed that you can just sleep on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And other things, pots, pans, cups. If you're going to be cooking and you want to have some stuff, that's great to have. Lighters, if some people smoke, obviously you'll have those if you do. But barbecues, you may need the lighter to actually start it. Now, these are a few things that I personally would put at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
So Electric Forest was the first time we did this, and I will probably never do a camping festival without it, but a solar charging bank actually changed the game. It's basically a charging bank that has a solar panel built on it, and we would leave it in the car, which technically I would actually recommend not to. We actually most of the time we would actually take it out of the car because having the sun right on the glass and then on the solar panel could actually heat it up to a point of explosion. Mm-hmm. So having that solar panel, though, by the time we came back, we had 2 of them. It would be fully charged, and they could charge 4 phones.
Nice.
So, and it's like you don't have to worry about the gas and turning on your car.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Electric Forest though is key. Now, one thing for anyone is if you're going to camping festivals, have a portable charge pack.
Do you have a solar charging battery bank that you would recommend?
So the one I purchased on Amazon, we actually returned it after the festival.
Classic.
Because it was, broken. Not actually, but it was honestly great price. Actually, I
was looking up some. And
it was that
says
orange
like
one.
$50.
Yeah, it's like an orange one.
$49.99.
Yeah, we'll have the link in the video.
Yeah, I can look for it and send it to you.
Right.
And it was great. It did a great job. There's many out there. My main thing is read reviews, as you would with any product. But obviously, other things that you should also buy on Amazon before going camping is a little tiny lock. Security is a big thing. If you have your car, hide anything that's of value. Not hide, but store anything that's of value in your car.
Yeah, 100%. Your passports or anything like that, like put it in your car and like hide it away.
But other things, clothes, stuff that at the end of the day, if they got stolen, you're not going to probably lose a lot. So get a lock. We used one that was just like a 3-digit, pops
pin
on the zipper of the tent, and it makes it so people can't open it easily. Because at the end of the day, if a thief is going to break into a tent,
they will.
The lock will keep the honest man out.
So luggage locks works for a lot of tents.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's a luggage lock.
Like you said, if a thief wants to break into a tent, like a small little knife to just poke through everything.
The lock is to keep honest men out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I would definitely recommend that. And then other things like extra shoes, flip flops or slides, because the amount of times that you're going to be getting in and out of your tent, you're not going to wear your shoes in the tent. You don't want to get dirt and stuff in there. So having flip flops or something to quickly walk around the campsite is great.
Especially when you go into the shower too.
Yes.
You kind of need that.
It's disgusting.
It is actually disgusting. So make sure you have shower flip flop.
Yep.
Extra underwear after Electric Forest already in.
Yeah.
Because you had to borrow my clean pair.
Actually, this is so funny because this is something I live by. No matter where I go, whether it's to a festival, to my father's house, to anywhere I'm staying that's not my home, I always pack extra underwear and extra socks. The reason is whether I shit myself, whether I sit in something wet.
Yeah.
Your outer clothes can get dry very easily, but your inner clothes is what you like, especially your socks. If you get your socks soaked, you can get, if it's cold out, you can definitely hurt your feet or get like that.
Blisters. You get like blisters from like walking so much.
Always have that because that is stuff that you want to make sure is always dry. So definitely bringing that, Also, when it comes to extra shoes, you're going to get, like, some festivals are nasty. They get dirty, muddy, and
be prepared to toss them out at the end.
So what I would actually recommend is if you have older underwear, wear those, and then when you're done, just dump
That's
it.
a great idea.
And then
it's almost like spring cleaning.
Yeah. And then you lighten the load. You have to
very
take
good tip.
too. Yeah.
You're actually letting it go at the perfect place. Yeah. Live the rest of your life at Electric Forest.
Instead of leaving your tent, you just have a bag of underwear.
Or even better, just start leaving them on the other campsites. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Who is this underwear bandit that keeps tossing underwear?
It's an electric force thing. This underwear bandit has been known for years.
You see at the front where all the trash is, a bunch of underwear there.
Nasty.
Yeah, like 6 pairs of underwear.
So gross. But hey, you know what? When you talked about Lost Lands, it goes from freaking hot in the day to freezing and cold at night. But what happens when you wake up? You are literally in an oven.
Yeah.
I say bring different thicknesses of blankets, because at nighttime you're freezing. You got the thick blanket on. In the morning, you don't want to wake up and be so sweaty that you have to take everything off. So have a blanket that you can quickly switch over when you're getting hot in the middle of the night, so you stay nice and cool. And you don't have to throw out your underwear the next
There's
day.
no strategy for EDC. You just have to survive on that one.
pretty much,
There's no blanket will help you.
Yeah, you might as well just not use
I
it.
mean, you can probably bring, like, what about electric fans?
You know what? I've actually seen people using those, and I remember being very jealous when I saw, because they also had the squirt feature.
But I think this goes into our next thing is like, this is like survival, right?
Yeah.
And this is like, we've seen some crazy setups where these are like elite campers, like nice to have options that we can go through.
I mean, these will always like give you like good stories to tell you after the end of them. But then the nice things to have will give you like probably more premium stories.
This is like
Because
the
more
things
people-
where it's like, it'll just
It'll elevate your camping experience,
Yeah,
essentially
sure,
what it
yeah.
is.
But it's also not like a hassle, or it's not like such like out of this world things. Well, some stuff is. I mean, like literally just having a carpet. I mean, you know those patio carpets that are like, it's like a weird material, like plastic. Laying that in your gazebo area where you're all hanging out, so that you're not just stepping on wet, like dirt and grass, right?
Yeah.
At least have something nice where it feels good. If you want to lay on the floor, it doesn't feel like you're just laying on dirt or grass, right? It's nice. Even like when you're doing a lot of like cooking, you're gonna have dirty dishes instead
like
of
an actual cleaning station for dishes, which is like
we bring like an actual like bucket, it's like a wide, shallow bucket where we just basically dump water in, soap, and you just clean your dishes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Great, it's great because then you can also have one that's a drying one, which we also do.
You know what's a big one that I've seen recently that I know we haven't done yet, but Electric Forest, our group had showers.
Dude,
Like portable showers.
Portable showers.
this is game changing. I didn't even know these existed until Lost Lands. They did have one, and then Electric Forest, they took it to a freaking another level, and that's why.
That one was a bit more next level.
So that's just where it's like we have the nice to haves, then we have like the this is beautiful to have.
Because like a lot of these camping festivals, as you mentioned, like the showers you have to pay for,
and it's expensive.
so it's Christine said, $10 to shower.
And you gotta wait too.
And you
And
have
you
to
gotta
wait.
There's like a 2-hour wait sometimes.
But what we
Jeez.
found is a lot of people bring portable showers.
I've
So-
never purchased one myself.
So like some of them are pretty easy. You just fill up like a
A bucket of water.
bucket. You just have like a little tent. You just unzip it.
literally,
you step inside.
I'm not even kidding. The tent could barely fit me standing up in it.
Yeah.
Like it's that tiny.
And they just
Yeah.
have a nozzle. You just hit the nozzle. You just shower. Like
Yeah.
the thing about camping festival, you're not going for like your nice soaking bath. It's
You get the job
Yeah,
done.
like
Yeah.
for people who camp, you probably heard of wet wipe showers. That is a common thing where you just take baby wipes and you give yourself a
There's
shower.
also
We used to
dry
call it-
shampoos too. Dry shampoos?
You can use
There
dry
is, yeah.
shampoos
Yeah.
too, yeah. But a lot of times, what a lot of
female.
the ladies do is they braid their hair so they don't have to wash it.
Yeah. Then when they take the braids out, it's just stuck.
It's just stuck. Yeah,
That's what my
exactly.
girlfriend does.
So a lot of ladies, they like to braid their hair before these festivals because then they don't have to take care of it after. They just gotta wash the rest of their body, which
Yeah.
is like key.
Yeah, and I mean like these like showers, like again, they're just super quick. But then at Electric Forest, they took it to another level. I couldn't believe it. Like this is so cool, and we used it, and it was great. They backed up a minivan. They put a whole gazebo on the. Again, this is depending on the size of your campsite, but they put a whole gazebo on the back of the van, like covering just like maybe a foot into the van, and then behind it. They hung tapestries on all sides of it to make it like a room.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they did is they actually would put the shower bag on top of the minivan and they put an actual like carpet on the floor, like the patio carpets. And that whole area was your shower. So you can actually like hang it on the gazebo and shower. And so
Because it's on top, the heat and like the bag gets heated from the normal
From the
sunlight,
weather, yeah,
sunlight.
yeah,
So you actually get warm water while you're showering.
it was fantastic.
Like
If we had the space, I'll do that.
They hyped it up too, and then I'm like, when I use it, I'm like, okay, I get this game changer.
But again, bring flip-flops. I didn't have them, and I was stepping in just straight mud.
Yeah,
disgusting.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. How big are the lots at festivals?
So usually, okay, I don't know the full sizing. We'll have it on the video, like any infographic.
You
but
10 meters by 2 cars.
That was for so it's like 2 cars deep, but they're also different.
Essentially, you can fit a car and you can fit like a 5 to 6 person tent behind it.
Yeah, like you know those wide, like let's say those tiny tents that are just like a square. You could probably fit your car and 2 of those tents.
Yeah.
In the area,
Okay.
so you have like enough space to hang out. Would you be setting up this advanced shower system with one campsite? Probably not.
No, probably not. This
But
is
we
where
had a
like
group
we have
site.
multiple people where like we had that one with the pavilion. You can set up the shower in that area that you're going to use the car.
Yeah.
Like the group camping spot was massive.
Yeah.
So you could probably fit like 15 cars in there.
So like for you mentioned that you bought like an extra lot of campsite. Is it common that people do that?
Yes. Yeah, quite often. At least for these type of festivals.
To be honest, I didn't see it too often though at Lost Lands.
I
I mean, we did it, but I honestly didn't really explore too many other campsites.
Mm-hmm. I think people do it, but you can also get away with it. So one other way is that you have it where if you have, say, 3 cars next to each other, you all just park your 3 cars, and then you just set up the long row at the back. So like someone's tent could be like on one side and someone's tent on the other, and then your middle area is just.
How would they know that you have like 3 lots for like 2
You
cars?
let them know, I
You
think,
let them
right?
No, you don't have to let them know. It's up to you. It's your
You can
3
move your car
neighbors.
after.
Huh?
Like once they kind of like go,
Yeah.
like the people who are putting you in, you can then situate your cars.
Like you let the person that's letting you in know. That's what I.
Well, you could just say like
yeah, but then
these
because
are
like
our 3
for
spots.
example like
Oh, do you have a pass you give to the person?
Oh, that's a good point. So what he's trying to say is if we only had 2 cars but 3 spots, how could they tell that second spot's ours?
Oh,
I
the
can't remember how
third
we did
spot.
it.
One car
Sounds,
gets two of the things. I think they put it on the dash. You let the guy know that you have an extra spot when they got it, but it actually it goes on one of the cars.
Yeah, there's
I
like a
see.
sticker that sticks
Yeah,
on the
that
inside
sticks
of
on
the
the
windshield.
car.
And I
Okay,
guess
so
they
like
gave you 2.
that's the indicator that you have.
Yeah,
But
I don't remember how we did it, but I guess they had to give
Yeah,
us
I
It's a
think that's how they do it.
standard size. Like they don't sell multiple different size for the lots, right?
No, but
Only the group ones. right?
only like electric forest when you do group camping, but you need enough people to like do it. And the nice thing about electric forest group camping for those people, any place that offers group camping, one of the biggest benefits is that people can show up later and park in your group camping spot.
I see.
So you don't have to all show up at the same time, or else group camping would not work. How are you going to coordinate? Some of these group camps had like 100 passes or 100 people. How are you going to
crazy.
coordinate like 20 cars?
Yeah,
you
that's
just
true.
can't.
They actually have a map where they just would section out little areas, and it's like this is this, and you make a group.
Oh,
name.
it's cute for a place like Electric Forest because you submit your name, so every group camping spot has its own
Has their
name, and
names,
some of these names are pretty funny.
and it perfectly ties into.
So it's like your Wi-Fi ID.
ours was
Is that-
Liddy Titty. What is it? Liddy
Liddy
Titty
Titty
Festy
Festival
Commi-
Committee.
Oh.
It wasn't our name; someone else chose it. But you know, it actually ties in perfectly because the next thing I wanted to say was a totem for your campsite, because like I said, it's in the middle of the dark.
We
When
had
you're trying to
Canadian
go-
flags for us.
Yeah, like we had like you want to get a flagpole that extends because obviously you're not going to bring a 20-foot pole that can go really high up in the air and have flags like the ones that we went to for Electric Forest. They had the Liddy Titty like flag. They had their own flag made. We had Canadian flags. We even had like I think Disciple ones at Lost Lands. But you would keep that so then when you're trying to walk, luckily for us, we had a pretty easy spot that we knew where we were. But when you're walking through like a field of tents, it's like you can't really remember which turn was the one you're supposed to go to, especially in the first day. So when you look for your totem, it's almost like trying to find friends in a crowd. You find your tent and you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Is it like dark as?
Oh, it's
heck?
pitch black.
It's pitch black.
Yeah.
So like having like.
Well, sorry, I take that back. They will have like every like 100 feet 2 massive floodlights by the
But
toilets.
they're not in the camping area. They're like by the porta potties.
Yeah.
or by the washroom.
like,
So
but
you
you
can
can't
see
really
those
see.
lights. Yeah.
Like it does show some shadows across the field, but it's not like enough light that you can actually like do anything with.
Oh, so like.
It's like the ambient
having-
light, so you can see. It's not pitch black, but you can see like in the distance. You know where you're going. It's just you don't know until you get closer. Then you'll be like, oh, there it is.
So like having like a headlamp to see where you're stepping on the ground.
Yeah, or
works
even a
too.
flashlight.
A flashlight.
Yeah,
Some glow sticks.
No.
That too.
Nah.
Glow sticks don't do nothing.
Yeah,
Those
So
things
you
make
can
you
Just pop a flare. We have a flare
Just
gun.
have a torch, a full-on flammable torch. You know?
Yeah.
Some other nice things which I've never done.
So how many towels did you break for the 6-day Lost Land festivals?
Towel?
I don't think
Towel
I brought
per person.
any. To be
Honestly, I just did one and I just kept reusing it.
I'm
telling you,
that's camping.
I'm telling you, like
gross.
hygiene stuff goes to a certain point at camping. Everything is accepted at a certain point. There are people who don't shower for 6 days.
I showered between the 6 days, but I only showered once.
Like I skipped my days too, where I actually planned when I wanted to shower. And I did wet wipes the other day.
I find that the earlier, maybe at the end of the night is probably, for Awakenings at least, the end of the night is when you can. It's the line for the showers is a little bit shorter.
So the one problem is that some of these camping festivals where it wasn't like EDC is like almost all 24 hours. At Lost Ends and them, they open up at a certain time.
Oh.
So at a certain time, the water isn't running.
Oh,
so like you can't actually shower. I think I don't know what time. It might have been like 7 a.m. it starts or something like that.
It was early, but didn't they close too?
They closed at like 6 or 7, 8, 9. Or
I thought
like
it was earlier. Like I thought it was like afternoon.
No, it was like maybe like right before, like heart of the festival, like 6
I never
p.m.
used them.
It's like 6 p.m.
Cheap. I was like, ain't no way I'm waiting in that line or spending money to wait in that line.
I for me personally, I just needed that one good shower.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on showering at Electric Forest, but the amount of dust, it's like you look at your arm and you just see like a line of where the dirt has just like stuck to your skin.
Just from sweat. And
we felt gross.
Yeah.
So I was like...
And you don't want to get into your... the thing with me is like, I don't want to get into my sleeping bag when I know of like, just
dirty.
It is gross to think about when you think about it.
But you gotta do it.
I just don't think about
it. Unfortunately, you gotta do what you gotta do. This is where like it's okay to pay for these higher end options. Like if you want to glamp and get that festival camping experience, you can.
If you want to be a hardcore camper, you gotta lose your dignity and just go.
Essentially, you have to.
Then wash your sleeping bag after.
You gotta use the water from the tap if you're gonna be camping.
Tap water is all applicable here.
Yeah. We're not buying extra water bottles. Or was it you or you that thought it was gross? I can't remember.
I thought it was gross.
Here, everything flies. Tap water, A-okay.
But yeah.
But like so for like food situations, like you mentioned that you brought your own coolers, your own food, ice bags and everything. But like for some people who don't do that, where do they able to like purchase food? Like food vendors?
This is where the Mesa, usually the Mesa has everything you need. They have, and as we've talked about with other episodes, like festivals are stepping up their food game.
Yeah,
like they have a food lineup, and like the food is actually like legit.
So I agree with that, but there's also some stupid places. We found a place that was a cereal. And I was like, oh cool, like different cool cereals.
Cereal bar.
A bowl of cereal at I think it was Electric Forest. They wanted $15 for a styrofoam bowl of cereal, like
with milk.
Maybe like 6 inches in diameter of milk and just Cheerios. Oh no, sorry, you did get to choose your cereal, but then there's other ones where they put bananas in it for like $20, and I was like, that's ridiculous.
So a camping festival can be cheaper if you do bring a cooler, bring food, you plan to cook. Like
do not plan to buy food because that unless you're willing to just drop so much money, it is so unrealistic. And at the end of the day, like they're not going to give you like portions that are going to really fill you. Mm-hmm. I just highly recommend make your own food.
Yeah,
honestly, even if it's a hot dog,
it's just like a normal barbecue. It tastes good too. Like just as what simple burgers we made, man, they went a long way.
Oh yeah, I was the burger guy. Yeah. Every single day it's like 3 burgers, 2 burgers. And I was just cooking burgers up all the time, hot dogs, burgers on the grill, and just that's pretty much what we ate the entire weekend. Yeah. But they were fantastic because it was just enough food to keep you going. Yeah. But you also didn't need to be full, like you know.
You know what I recommend? I recommend going to Costco and getting the pre-season stuff.
That's
the wings that are pre-seasoned. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they do beef, but I know they do chicken for sure. So you can get a whole
in the end, the main thing is you have to be able to refrigerate it and like cool make sure
but you also be okay with it not being at prime temperature all the time too. Yeah. That's the other thing, right? Like with that, it's a little bit more real meat than like a hot dog. It's probably got some processed stuff in it that it can probably be like a little bit warm.
But you can also like cook it up the first day you get there and just have it like kind of cold.
It's definitely an option, yeah.
Have it cold and then just maybe reheat it when you're ready to want to eat it.
So Benny, when you went to like Awakenings camping, like you didn't have the facilities that they have. They can just drive and like have a cooler because you're not gonna bring the cooler in the plane, right? So how did you find food?
Pepperoni sticks, a lot of those.
Real Canadian.
Yeah, and then honestly, I just bought the pizza there. I find the pricing compared to
just gonna say
North America. North America, they just charge crazy amounts.
Yeah.
It's like $20 for like a meal, whereas honestly, in going to Europe, it was like $7-8.
Yeah,
like it's like
night and day.
Night and day. Like I did the same thing. Like I don't even know if we did it. I think we did a mini grocery run like before the bus stop to go there. We went to one of the just got basic snacks, but I bought food every day at the festival.
Awakenings.
Yeah, and it was fine.
It's not like horrible. It's
all vegan too, which is kind of weird. It's all
really?
Yeah, they had no
Awakenings
meat.
are all vegan.
No meat options.
That is so weird because I am like my mother has been vegan for 15 years. I can't. No chance, man.
Nah,
I am
can't
like
either.
I am.
Yeah, everything is vegan friendly for some weird
Hence
reason.
why I brought the pepperoni stick.
Rebel here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like when it comes to like just food in general at like festivals, it is hard. It really is.
Yeah.
And I know there are, like, you can probably find them online, and there's probably some stores that buy them. But like, if you really want to be bougie, you can like even look at cookbooks. Like, there are camping recipes, right?
You can always prepare before. Like
Yeah,
make a
some
whole
people do like those frozen omelets and everything. Like it's actually like pre-prepared, ready to go. Like as I said, it all depends on how much time you're willing to put into this, right?
You can bring like a whole like a container of maybe potato salad or whatever. Like make a whole bunch of sandwiches.
But you can even get more advanced. Like one time we went camping, not festival related at all. We actually made craft dinner, and like cheesy craft dinner, which like for Americans that's mac and cheese, Canadian mac and cheese. And it was like so cheesy, and we made it on a fire, which I know obviously you don't have a fire, but like you do have a pot. You can put water in it. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot easier.
You have a propane tank.
Yeah. Also bring extra propane.
One thing we with all this is alcohol. So with a lot of these festivals, the one benefit of camping is now you can't bring it into the festival like normal, but you can bring in like per person. There's always an allowance of how much alcohol you can bring.
And what is the allowance?
So usually it's like a case per person for like beer.
It's a certain amount of ounces.
Yeah.
I think when we did the math, which is so dumb, it was like 6 beer bottles.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
realistic.
much, but I mean, you could probably get away with doing more.
Now, hard liquor, that's usually a problem because they don't want glass in these festivals. So there is some festival hacks we may have.
Do you find that they actually you only allow like six cans per
No,
person?
they honestly don't.
Yeah,
a lot of these,
they don't really
they
care.
like, unless you have like an entire like
You're gonna
kegger or
sell.
something, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
unless it's like over, if you bring one extra, no one really cares.
Yeah.
But like, people do sneak bottles in. Be prepared to hide it if you're gonna do that.
Sleeping
Be
bags are
prepared.
great places.
Sleeping bag is a great place. Also, one tip which we have is if you buy a 24 pack of like water and you're gonna get vodka, what you do is you just drink one of the water bottles, take it out so that you don't disturb the packaging, and then fill that bottle with vodka, and then put it back in the case.
I'm sure like you don't have to preserve the
packaging.
packaging. You could just have the water bottle and just put it in. Like, a
I mean,
loose
they
bag.
probably see that you tampered with it.
Yeah,
you know?
but they have. Like, a
but
whole
like
row
they have
of-
like as long as I said, you just have to put it back properly.
Genius. Cut from the bottom. So when the
Yeah.
water case is down, they won't even notice.
Yeah, but then water, if you cut it from the bottom, it will just all fall out, no?
Well, if it's on the floor of your like car, put some tape on it or something.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like the thing is that like
usually they're not like super stingy about it. To be honest.
I mean,
Yeah.
you did mention that when they check your belongings in Lost Lands, like they take everything out from your car and they kind
For
of
the
like
most part, yeah.
Yeah.
they kind of scrap it like every inch of the car.
They check. I'd say if you were like to say, they're not going to take off panels from your interior, but put it that way.
They'll do a fairly.
They'll
thorough
do like
check.
they'll make sure that they can at least see every part of the vehicle. So whether that means they have to take some things out, put them onto the floor for
What
a
about
second.
the engine block?
No, actually, I don't think I've ever got checked in the hood.
I mean, unless you're a very suspicious person, I don't
Yeah.
think there's a reason to.
I mean,
check
like
it.
when I went to Grid Life, some guy had a gun behind us, and the guy's like in the lineup going into the camping festival, and we hear them saying like you can't bring a gun in here. But of course, in America, you're allowed to carry guns.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, okay. Can I just go hide it like somewhere else?" And he's like, "I'm not saying you can't, but I would recommend. But you're not allowed to bring it in here." And I was like, that was my first out of country festival. I'm like, "Oh my god, I didn't even think about that."
I've heard of a horror story recently about Coachella being ruined for someone because their someone in their car forgot they had a gun in the car, and then they took their wristbands away.
What?
Yeah, like they didn't even let them in. Like you're not allowed in.
Are you allowed to have firearms in Coachella? Or
you're not allowed like.
No, I mean you're not allowed to have firearms in any festival. But
like
I meant to say like wherever that's held. Where is it held?
It's in California.
It's in California.
And they're more strict on gun laws. So like it's as sometimes it's up to the checker. It's also up to the security to deem it's like, hey, why were you even thinking about bringing a gun in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And we
it's
don't
like
want
sometimes
you just forgot about it. You know,
I'm a contractor. I had a knife in my truck and I got that taken away.
Yeah, but that was like okay. That was
they
understandable.
that
was understandable because you literally had your truck with your logo in a construction company.
That's another great thing. The campsite that we had at Electric Forest was the
advertising.
Literally the first campsite when you leave the festival. The first campsite, and my truck was parked facing the festival entrance.
Nice.
Brink Construction. My phone number and everything on there. I had people who were sending me photos being like, I didn't even know you were here because they knew the truck and they know my company. Free advertising. If I worked in Michigan, game over. I would have had so much business.
So like, you mentioned like where the placement of your truck is for thinking. What is the right placement of the campsite? Because like you mentioned earlier in the podcast that even if you come a day late, you are 45-minute away walk from the festival, right? But some people may like that because it's further away from the crowds, further away from like footprints to be able to like sleep well, you know.
So this goes back to I think we talked about EDC episode 2 with how to do it. In the end, it all depends on your schedule and when you can show up.
Yeah.
The earlier you show up, usually you're gonna get a better camping spot. Same with EDC. The earlier you show up, you get to choose where you want to camp, so you can plan accordingly. Where it's same thing with Lost Lands, Electric Forest, unless you have if you don't have group camping, is the spot. The earlier you show up, the better spot you should get. Theoretically.
But when you mention spot, is like the section where you can put your camp,
exactly.
Not the lot inside the section.
No.
You also don't know.
You also don't know, but like the people will guide. Pretty much, they're gonna fill it up based on how the map layout is. So usually, the closer you are, like the earlier you show up, the closer you are to the festival or to the mesa, which some people want. And then the further you show up, like you're further back. Maybe you get more quiet camping.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. Further away from crowds. But you have to think about this. You just spent 8 hours standing. Do you want to walk 45 minutes to your campsite? On top of that,
that's how I see it too.
As you get back there, the only advantage that you're getting in terms of crowds is more people are going to get to their campsite.
Frustrated?
Like, no, true. But you got to think about it like, let's say everyone walking from the festival, by the time they reach yours, yes, more people would have already gone to their campsites because they had to walk through all the other ones to get to yours. But there's still going to be people behind you. You're most likely not going to be the last campsite. So you're still going to have people who are around, and you're also not like in the middle of nowhere. Like you have a lot of people around you. Yes, it sucks when we had so many people walking through our campsite, but we set it up in a way where it basically made a divider.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever coming near us. Some people would pop their head and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And we like.
One thing about even the further ones is depending on the schedule. I find the people who show up earlier are hardcore, like for the festival, for like that lifestyle, and you get overall like they know the music. Whereas like I'm not saying that people at the back don't know, but I'm just saying like you may have someone last minute come, right? And then they're stuck at the back.
Or if you go to Electric Forest, do not come late because there's these two people, like companies, that set up these after parties at the very back of the campgrounds. When I say after parties, we're not just talking like a car. We're talking like a legitimate stage.
Better than some festival setups.
Yes, like a proper stage, proper lights, proper sound system, and they would do nights where like the real headlining DJs would go and play sometimes. Like they were big names.
And it's not a silent disco.
It's
not a silent disco. So the funny thing is like where we were near the mesa, we're like, oh, let's go to the afters. Let's find out where it is. And then we started walking, and it's just like. Everyone's like, where is this after? So like we had no idea. It's just listen to the music, hear it, and we just hear it. And then as you get closer, you just hear boom, 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 boom,
and you start hearing the rattling.
And then you hear literally rattling from like from the vehicles like around it, like Echo. That much rattling, and then you see where it is, and there are people actually camped right around the corner.
And no, I mean like there's one night I felt horrible. We're talking stage. The crowd for the stage was so big. Like, it was like a proper, like, minimum, like, 2,000 people were there. And, like, I was starting to try to leave the crowd, and I found out that I was walking through someone's genuine campsite. Like there were people around their tent, around their cars, and I'm like, okay, I walked through 3 campsites before I was out of the crowd. And I was like, if I was those people, I would have been so mad.
Yeah.
Like there's literally a crowd in your campsite, not just around it, in your campsite. But the after parties are crazy. I mean, they were nuts. I mean, like, but it was far. For us, we had a long walk to get there.
15-20 minute walk.
But I've never seen anything like that. That was the coolest thing ever. A campsite that literally felt like it was, it's now, they've been doing it for so many years, Electric Force, that like the actual Electric Force team like reserves those spots for them.
Yeah. It's actually their spot. So like it's somewhat affiliated. It's just the asterisk of like you won't get sleep if you're in this area. So be prepared.
Yeah.
So I think like in a way like from what I'm hearing, the best is to come early. Get your
essentially, yeah. If you're gonna commit to a camping festival, say it's like Wednesday, say the festival starts Friday, you want to at least be there Thursday, at least Thursday latest. Like I know people who have show up Friday, like just don't do it. Show up Thursday. Wednesday is probably preferred because a lot of times these festivals too may have like a Electric Force is 4 days, but Lost Lands has
Thursday.
It has Thursday pre-party, which is like all these DJs doing back to back. But now they also have
a pre-party
in the actual Mesa. So they actually have live like actual DJs lined up and DJing. So that starts on Wednesday.
Shit.
So
imagine going to a 3-day festival to a 5-day festival.
Honestly, like the first night we got there, I was like, whatever, I'll drink. So I started drinking. I got really fucked up, and it was great because you would also go to campsites and people would set up their own little like DJ booth, so you have all these different genres of music. Like I love rhythm. Not many people were playing rhythm. I found it like literally across the road. There's just people playing rhythm, and we went there, and there's between 2 RVs. That's where you find, if you ever want to find like the after party or the campsite stages, RVs. That's what people typically will always have. Is RVs will always have the big setups because they can afford it.
They have the space and everything.
Yeah, and like you'll have like sometimes the RV sets are insane. There's some summoning. Some of the craziest back-to-backs ever done were at an RV, and now I'm actually seeing EDC week on Thursday, the 2 DJs that back-to-back at an RV set that blew up at summoning, I'm seeing them at EDC, and I'm super excited for it.
Do you find that when, say the festival is going on, and you just want to chill, do you find that you feel a bit guilty for missing some of the sets if you just want to sit down and chill and like miss a set?
I mean, if you asked my girlfriend that question, she would say absolutely not. There was literally when we were at
I didn't think she was gonna make it the one day.
At Los Angeles, one girl was like, "I'm kind of tired. Does anyone want to go back to the campsite?" She's like, "Yep, me." Instantly got up and was like, "Let's go." She's like, I hated this. I want to go back.
After we kind of killed her, like we destroyed her on the final day, like. She just had her head down in her like lap most of the time, and I was happy she actually made it to the festival, but it was like very late at like 6-7 o'clock.
Yeah,
but she made it to the festival at that time. But it was a lot for a first timer.
She also like Los Angeles was ending at like 4 o'clock in the morning. She's like never gone to bed that late, so that's the other thing. Like she's not a very late night person.
Unprepared will be like tough experience.
It's a lot on your body, right? And
it's a lot, like
especially
6 days camping.
I mean, she survived. She's or
Trooper.
I don't know. She might have not survived. She might still be there.
All I told her is it can only get better from here.
Yeah.
I literally told her it can only get better from here.
Yeah,
so you literally experience the most insane thing your body can probably go through. So it's only uphill from here.
And she's not going to EDC.
She's not
absolutely not.
Oh yeah. So like so then how do you make like with all this preparations, spots that you want, and then like making the most out of the festival experience, like because you're essentially telling me the vibe, the experience, the friendliness, the plural vibes, everything translates from the festival to the campsite.
Absolutely,
it does.
Like so even like the villas will have like special events going on too.
Yeah. So then how do you like cope for sleep?
So I think it's all dependent on the person. Like I know everyone's talking about me, like how I function on like low sleep, but what I do won't apply to what Ian does, what Benny does, what you do.
Especially not his girlfriend.
Especially not his girlfriend. It's essentially just having you have to listen to your body. Like if you know you need something like a sleeping mask to fall asleep at a camping festival, bring one, right? Like just have that ready to go. Anything, earplugs, big one. if you know you have IMAS, what I just mentioned, just having something like that.
Yeah, and like not the earplugs that you'd wear to a rave.
Yeah.
Ones that actually deafen the sound. Yeah, you don't want to hear the...
You don't hear the foot traffic.
You don't want to hear the bass either.
So in the end, you have to listen to your body, and it all comes back to a lot of the things we said earlier, like just having the proper setup so you know you're at least going to be comfortable sleep. If you need an air mattress, bring an air mattress if you can. Sleeping bag, obviously, to at least sleep. But I've survived a camping festival with just a sleeping bag. People do it all the time.
You can also just buy like those mats, like just sleeping mats.
That's what I had. I had one of the mats where I just put it on the floor.
Do people bring like water beds?
No.
I don't think so.
You know how much... Imagine just seeing someone at the water station fill up their freaking mattress.
You have to carry it back, too.
Yeah,
I mean, like, just bringing jugs of water, filling that, and then pouring it into the thing.
Typically, you're not going to have that much space in your car. Right? I mean, like, even, like, another thing to keep in mind is, you know, during your time at a camp, there's going to be times where there's nothing going on, right? You know, when you wake up, it's not like music starting right away. I mean, maybe at EDC. I don't know. I've never been. But, you know, there's going to be downtime where you're just basically hanging out or getting ready for the day. Some people want to, you know, keep entertained so they're not bored. And, of course, with camping, technology is not super easy to use because you're trying to save your battery life and you don't want to use it all, right? So, you know, some ideas of, like, to keep yourself occupied is people like to drink. There's drinking games, there's party games, beer pong, that kind of stuff. You know, also in the rave scene, there's candy. People love to make candy. So bring your beads, and there's your time to make all your little pieces of candy so you can give them out at the festival.
You should set up a candy station at your...
oh, gosh, no.
No.
Those things get nasty. There's festivals that have candy stations, and there are beads everywhere.
Yeah. But a lot of these camping festivals have a candy making station, too.
Yeah,
you know, EC has one at the Mesa.
Yeah.
So don't do it at your campground. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Just do it for yourself.
Yeah,
at your own
exactly.
campground.
Do it
There's also, like, the shops. The shops in the villa are amazing. Like, I bought these beautiful pants from there. Like, what are they called? We call them wavy pants.
Wook pants.
Wook pants, yeah.
Call them Wook pants.
I mean, they have some really cool stuff.
Very
lot of
comfy,
it's
though.
Extremely expensive, but there are some really cool things. There's also some really just boring things, but walking the shops is super fun. I mean, you can spend hours doing it. Looking at all the different clothing. They have a lot of like rave stuff, and it's not just cheap like LED stuff. Like it's actual unique
like
handmade things or like stuff made from different countries.
Made for a festival.
Not even just like even like it's a lot of like especially Electric Forest had a lot of hippie stuff. Pins. People love to collect pins. There's a lot of pin shops, and this will be in the festival and in the campground. And I would definitely recommend checking that out.
Okay, then we talk about like raining, and whenever it rains, try to be in your own. Try to have like a tarp that is like
something that's gonna help protect
waterproof and things like that, right? And so, like, what are the APs? Like you mentioned that the 2 stages on Electric Forest. I think. Do they have like silent discos or somewhere?
Some of them do. You just have to. It all depends on what the festival is offering. And as what Ian mentioned earlier, is that you can find RV sets. People spinning. Yeah. You can find our neighbors too.
throwing
it down. As I said, like you'll find if you're at a camping festival and you're looking for music, you will find music if you try.
Yeah, and the worst thing about that 6 o'clock story, the worst thing is when you're trying to go to bed and you're like, please turn it down, but then you start going like this because you're enjoying the music.
Well, security even stopped trying to tell them that you guys need to turn it down. They just said like fuck you.
Yeah.
And like nothing was done.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Wow.
But
I mean, it's because it's festival for everyone, right? There's no like policing in that sense.
I mean, at least the music was also good.
Yeah.
As much as it was keeping me up, it wasn't like bad music.
If you need to, there is shuttle service too, where you can. We talked about earlier, where you can probably do a grocery run during the festival. Some of them offer shuttle service, so it's just utilizing. Definitely take a look at what the festival is offering, and then just plan accordingly.
So, one last question before we end this whole episode. Can you overpack?
Depends on your car size.
Honestly, it really depends on your car size. Like,
how many tanks of propane should you bring?
That's actually such a good question. I have no idea.
At least one.
At least one. I would say 1 to 3. Depending on how much cooking you plan on doing. Like, if you're going to...
I think 1 per day, usually. Because, like, you're talking about the small ones, right? Yeah, I think it's 1 per day.
I would say 1 per day is probably a good bet. The other thing, too, is that a lot of the places will sell them. Like, the villa places will most likely have them. You can buy. Also, the more the merrier. Buy... If you are worried and you're like, well, okay, we're going to be there for 6 days, do I get 6 or do I get 8? I mean, just buy 8, and if you need to return them when you come back home, you can in most cases.
In the end, as we started this off with, it all depends on your size of the car.
Yes.
Like the thing,
and how many people.
And how many people.
Like
so
when I went to Grid Life, we were in a tiny hatchback, like smaller than Sonny's SUV. Like we fit 3 people in.
I remember the story you telling me. You guys went to the border, and they didn't even see Zoe.
Yeah, she had stuff literally like all on top of her because it was like just a back seat.
And
right?
these guys handed 3 passports. Like, where's your third person?
And she's like, she just popped her head up. Here I am. And the guy's like, oh my god, I didn't even know you're back there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
So like,
smuggled her in.
once again, if you have a bigger vehicle like a U-Haul or something, it honestly gives you so much freedom to
Of
like
course,
not
yeah.
even think about what you need to pack.
Or
because-
friends.
Yeah, that too. Or like other people who have like a bigger truck. You can do it with a car, but you also have like, depending on how many people are, you have to just plan accordingly. This is where some of the like, you may need to omit like a cooktop. If you can only bring a vehicle and you have 4 people, like you may not be able to bring a cooktop because you just have to work through the list, make sure you have your essentials, and then eliminate some of the stuff. If you had a bigger vehicle that you like very nice to have, just omit it and then just deal with that.
Yeah. And like the other thing too is like if you're gonna go camping with friends, like one thing our group that we did for Electric Forest, they had a full Google sheet where everyone would say what do they have and what can they bring. So then we're not bringing multiple of the same item.
Exactly.
We utilize that space.
Yeah, so we're not bringing 8
don't have-
tables.
Yeah, which we did.
Like 10
Well,
packs-
no,
10
actually, no.
packs
We
of
brought
hot
extra
dogs.
tables, and it actually came
Because
in clutch.
we had extra space, so I was like, I'll bring extra tables just in case. And yes, he is right; it came in clutch. But like, you don't need 4 barbecues, right?
Like
At the
I
same
couldn't
time-
even imagine that rain story we said in my vehicle.
Oh my god!
I don't know how we would have managed that because what ended up happening is we threw everything in Ian's truck. He had so much room that we didn't even have to think about where we threw stuff.
And then the
Right.
border searched
Yeah.
us.
And then the border searched us, but that
Yeah.
that was a fun time.
Yeah, taking out all that wet, smelly, gross stuff because you know when it gets wet and that like
Yeah.
mildew smell,
Yeah,
taking all
yeah.
that out of the truck, it's like
Damn.
yeah, and also lack of sleep because
Yeah. I mean, when you go through the border, they know you went through a festival.
oh yeah, anyone
Yeah.
who they were searching
Everyone.
literally
They were
anyone
searching
who went to
everyone.
Electric Forest.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone got searched, no matter what. They would just say, "Where are you coming from? Electric Forest? Go search." Doesn't matter.
Instant
Over there,
search.
that way.
Right.
Yeah.
To the right, sir.
So yeah, I mean that concludes like pretty much the whole segment of camping festival. Ian, do you have any last thoughts?
Yeah, the only one other thing, which I feel like some people it's just very scenario based, right? Some people have prescriptions. They're not, things that they are using out of random want to use. I guess is what the word I'm trying to find is. But like you have prescribed meds and you have to take them. Doesn't mean you can't bring them to a festival. Doesn't mean you can't camp. I recommend that you go on the website. You look to see what the rules are for bringing in prescription medication. We had a friend who had a lot of prescription medication. It was like a very long wait of them going and searching through all the different medications, but he needed them. So just make sure you do your research before going so you know where to go. Because the last thing you want to do is get that stuff thrown out from someone who wasn't prepared or doesn't know that this is needed.
Make
and
sure
then
all
you're
the
screwed.
bottles are labeled correctly.
Absolutely.
As I said, they will not question any prescriptions. Just make sure it's only your prescription in there.
Absolutely.
Bring the like the prescription, like your receipts, and bring your
Exactly.
ID.
Bring the prescription sheet, like when you go to the doctor's, that sheet.
I don't think you keep that. They take it from you.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, though, like when you go, just check the website. They'll have everything, and I assume most festivals will have some sort of like email or something if you have other questions. But like, regardless to anything that we talked about today, the number one thing to do is look at the festival. There's rules you need to follow. Camping has rules, like we talked about some here, but every festival is different. So make sure to read the rules. And
Be well acquainted.
Yes, and just make sure you follow them too, because everyone's trying to have fun, right?
Many of them have checklists as well, just to help you out.
And just don't screw around. And if you do this right, as much as camping does take a lot more effort, a lot more work, you will have amazing stories to walk away with. You'll have great times, and you'll also learn a lot. And it is a little bit more fun, kind of surviving with minimal things, right? But yeah, absolutely.
Human nature.
It is, yeah. But yeah, at least we're not out in the wild.
All right. That pretty much concludes the episode. We will leave some of the description on what we said, like the stuff that we can buy off Amazon. And then we'll leave Ian's handle So if you want to contact him, it will be right down in the description. What was your handle?
So you can get me on YouTube. It is Redin, REDINIRL, and Instagram too, I think. But yes, that is like my social YouTube channel.
Right.
And I also want to thank you guys for allowing me to come on today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
And
it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
and
thanks for coming.
We'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.